Welcome, everyone, to the Lost Lowdown podcast number 11 with your hosts, Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
Today, we will be recapping some episodes of Season 2. Sorry, I forgot what we were doing for a second there. Hopefully you guys have already heard our Part 1 of our Season 2 Quick and Dirty Retrospective. This is going to be...
QDR, please.
Yes, exactly. This is going to be Part 2. We're going to do the second set of 8 episodes, which are episodes 9 through 16. What Kate Did, the 23rd Psalm, Hunting Party, Fire plus Water, because it's a plus sign, people, The Long Con, one of them, Maternity Leave, and everyone's favorite, The Whole Truth. Because if you only get half the truth, well, you're probably talking to Charlie. Can I get a zing?
Zing!
Okay. Let's just jump in here and get started. I guess should we let the audience know that this podcast is going to be tentatively dubbed the Midnight Podcast. Because it's midnight where I am right now. It's 1 o'clock where Justin is.
Woohoo!
We're both tired. We're both trying to get these Season 2 podcasts out before Season 3 starts in, 4 days, So that means our schedules have to be interrupted so that you guys can enjoy our lovely voices and insights.
It's a bit of a cram session here.
It's a cram fest. So... we might be a little more loopy than usual because we're running on caffeine, but hopefully that'll make it all the more interesting to laugh at us.
Perhaps.
Speaking of perhaps What Kate Did, episode 9.
Yes.
The two groups of others are united at last.
What?
I totally misread that.
Wow.
I know.
I missed that shit.
I should go watch that episode again. I missed that.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I thought that was a boring episode. Who knew?
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. The two groups of survivors are united at last.
Wow.
Yeah, I made a mistake. Kate has a strange sighting while gathering food. A delirious Sawyer confesses his feelings for Kate, I guess. After Shannon's funeral, Jack and Locke return to the hatch to find the clock dangerously close to 0. Watch out, guys! Michael makes a discovery that may hold the key to getting his son back. All right, that was a fairly aptly written synopsis. That was a weird phrase.
Yes.
There's a lot to talk about here, I think. So it's all on you, Justin.
Oh, is it now?
Put your pants back on and start talking.
All right. Well, I don't have a lot on this episode. The only thing I wrote down to talk about is the horse thing. What is the horse? Is the horse there? Etc.
Yes. Now, this is the second sighting of the horse, or just the first sighting?
What do you mean? You mean it within the episode? Are you asking what I'm asking about? Are you?
Kate sees the horse twice, correct?
Yeah.
One time by herself, the second time with Sawyer.
Right.
Now, I'm just a little fuzzy since we're watching so many episodes at once. Is this the episode? This is the episode when she sees it first.
This is the episode. This contains both scenes.
Oh, both of those are in the same episode.
Yeah.
Therein lies the problem. Okay, I'm on the same page. Let's go.
Okay, good. So when I'm referring to this, I'm pretty much talking about both scenes. I'm assuming it's the same thing in both scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Which may be faulty, but I'm assuming that. So the question is, what is it? And, why is it there? Is it there for real? Is it something like the polar bear? Or is it, maybe the smoke monster? Or is it, I don't know.
Well, I don't mean
simple hallucination.
I don't mean to interrupt you, buddy, but it doesn't sound like you have a lot of answers there.
Well, I don't.
Yeah, I'm kidding. So, I don't know about you, but when I travel over the Pacific Ocean, I usually bring my black stallion. So I think
Oh, okay.
Kate just brought her pet horse with her.
Wow.
Yeah, it survived, you know.
Most people don't bring. Yeah, do horses fit in the?
You can stow it in the overhead compartment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it's too big,
I guess you gotta.
You can put it in the crew luggage compartment up front if it's too big.
Oh, okay.
I think
Well,
that's
probably.
yeah. That's why Charlie couldn't get his guitar in there because there was a horse.
There's a horse. Yeah, I guess you have to sort of fold the horse.
Sodding horse.
Sorry. Oh God.
So okay, here's my explanation of the horse. I think the horse is Smokey. I'm sorry, it just seems like it is.
Simple as that.
It's Smokey because I think all of the hallucinations have to have some sort of real world connection, not just like a literal hallucination. So I think, especially since other people see it, you know, I don't think there's any real way for both Sawyer and Kate to see the horse without it actually being there. And the fact that she touches it, you know,
yeah.
and Sawyer seemed to pick up some sort of familiarity between the two.
Yeah.
And that was a big ass horse.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kate's probably pretty small, but that's a big ass horse.
Yeah, horses are big too.
Yeah, they're pretty big. They're not dogs.
They're not dogs.
People buy them as pets, and then they grow up and they try to flush them down the toilet.
Yeah.
Can't do it, people. Horses don't like that.
No, they don't. So it's weird to me because, you know, when she saw, I mean, I would expect the horse to have some kind of deep personal significance to her, but when she sees it in her flashback, it's just, you know, it's just after the marshal picks her up, I guess, for the first time.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
That seemed like the first time, because
she didn't recognize him, so.
I'm going to Tallahassee, mister. Leave me alone.
Yeah, like, I really thought that was weird, because he seemed to know who she was. I'm like, you don't recognize him yet? But I guess that means that was the first time. And so, like, you know, she's in the car with him, and she makes him crash the car, and then, you know, escapes, and that's when she sees the horse, right? It just sort of, like, walks by.
Well, the horse is the reason he crashed.
Oh, really?
The horse basically saved her, let her escape. That's her deed connection to the horse.
I thought she made it crash.
No.
Oh, I'm thinking of the scene with the Australian farmer
Yeah.
when she ran the car off the road. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, don't get it confused.
Okay, so the horse helped her escape in some way, and maybe that's why she considers it to be sort of, because why she feels like she has some kind of personal connection with
Exactly.
Okay, well, I'll buy that. And, you know, it being Smokey, I mean, that's great, but the thing that's bothering me is, you know, someone on the fuselage asked Greg Nations with 2 Gs.
Do we have to talk about Greg every podcast? He's just, he's everywhere.
Well, you know, he answers everybody's questions.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Somebody actually asked him about this issue that Damon and Carlton brought up about seeing the smoke monster but not knowing that that's what we were looking at, you know? And the horse was an obvious sort of thing to say, but Greg Nations offered the clue. He said, yeah, I know what they're talking about, and he said that the episode they're referring to is after the 23rd Psalm. So, which rules out what Kate did. So, whatever they were talking about is not the horse. Which doesn't mean the horse isn't it, but whatever they are referring to isn't that. So, it makes me want to believe that's not it. But, I don't know.
Well, one of the things I was thinking because, you know, it's fine to say, oh, it's Smokey, it's, whatever, but you'd have to ask yourself why. You know, I don't just like to give random explanations without thinking about why that would be the case. So I was thinking maybe Smokey, you know, obviously if Smokey appears and it's in its regular form, it'll scare off people. And I think maybe sometimes it appears as people, as people the Losties recognize or are things the Losties, or, you know, the horse or something that
Yeah.
Losties will have some familiarity with, so it can sort of maybe read their mind or probe them or get it closer to them or do something without, be closer to them without them being afraid of it. So I don't know. That's just a general little reason why sometimes these things might be smoky. If this horse isn't smoky, I would just have to say it's one. The other explanation would be that it's just a really, 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 really big coincidence that there's just a black horse on this island. And which I would, I guess you have to put it up there, but I don't think that's really true. The other explanation would be some sort of shared hallucination, but what would be the cause for that,
Right.
So that's all I can really think of.
This episode to me, in retrospect, seems like it's Kate's chance or Kate's episode to get tested, where she sort of has to work out her problems.
Mm-hmm.
Like other Sawyer had to do his thing and Jack had to do his thing, and everybody sort of has to deal with whatever their problem is. And it seems like this episode is Kate's opportunity to sort of deal with her big problem, I guess, which is what she did and the ramifications of that. So I feel like the horse being there is sort of an impetus for her to deal with it. And so it makes me think maybe it's just the island, making her work through her problems like it has other characters.
Yeah, I agree. It's really weird. I really don't like those flashbacks when... it's one thing to get a BS on somebody, but that's another thing when the BS has a point. Oh, Charlie, you'll never take care of anyone. It all led up to that just so, Claire can basically say the same thing to him,
Right.
So that's the thing. What did the horse help her work out? What was she going through in this episode that she even needed something to work out? Oh, this was about... Oh, this is when she's dealing with killing Wayne, right?
Yeah.
And she has to, she's got guilt with that, I guess.
Right, and she's seeing him talking through Sawyer, and she when she sees a horse, she thinks she's sort of going crazy, and through that process, I guess it makes her sort of remember this, killing the guy and beginning to go on the run.
Yeah.
And so it seems like the horse makes her confront that. Not directly,
yeah,
but it leads to that in some way.
I wonder if when the horse appeared, when the horse appeared the first time, it was Fate's way or something of basically letting her off the hook for killing Wayne. Fate sort of saying, well, I guess you did a bad thing, but you had good intentions, so you don't necessarily deserve to be punished for this. And so the horse comes and gives her an opportunity to escape. And so later, when she's when she's on the island and she is thinking about having the same regrets again, the horse resurfaces to sort of remind her or to tell her again, hey, it's okay. You did what you thought was right. That's the only real thing I can think that the horse could be doing is just sort of, reminding her that it's okay sort of thing, putting her at ease. Now, we really should talk about this Wayne situation and why she thought Wayne was communicating through Sawyer.
Right.
Especially after just one line. Obviously, it's the most direct line, Sawyer could say for her to think that's Wayne, besides, hey, I'm Wayne.
Right.
But it was still very, Sawyer was very delirious. But I just don't know why she just said, oh, this must be Wayne, and then, to get all her feelings out about that. And really, I guess I would write it off as just a writing thing so that we can know that she's having feelings for Sawyer. We already saw her actions, relay that she has feelings for him, when she's, sad she didn't say goodbye to him on the raft, and then when he comes back and she's taking care of him, and obviously she's doing it. But this gave her the opportunity to actually, say the words that she's starting to get feelings for him and stuff like that, and it's all very sad and sappy.
So you think Sawyer really said that stuff?
I just don't want to buy it's Wayne. You think Wayne said it?
No, I think it was a hallucination. I feel like that
Yeah.
didn't happen. Because I just don't think he would say that.
You don't think so? You think Kate imagined that he said that?
Yeah, I don't think
Ow.
he really said that.
Ow.
Just because, like, no, I don't think it's Wayne. That's too silly. I also don't think Sawyer would say that.
I think, I'm going to go ahead and say I think Sawyer said it because as far as I can tell from the show, they've never shown us an hallucination without letting us know it's an hallucination, you know? I mean, obviously there's a couple times... Huh?
Dave?
I thought Dave was pretty clearly a hallucination.
Oh, okay, well, we didn't find out, technically.
It's on the cut. I mean, obviously, you can say what you want, but I think no one else saw Dave, obviously, so... I mean, that's the thing. Of course, there was Jack's dad. There were a couple other things that may have been hallucinations. I'll say that. But something that small, which basically is just one line. Did she imagine that line? Like, I think that's a little bit too small for them to do as a hallucination. I'm just gonna. I mean, I'm not saying there's a right answer here. I'm just saying I just believe he said it. It's a writing thing. They had him say it. And the sort of answer is that he was delirious.
Yeah, but
here's the other thing I meant to bring up. I thought one of the things I thought in thinking about that line, "You killed me." I think that was the line he said.
Why did you kill me?
Why did you kill me? There you go. And that's another thing. Wayne would know why you killed me? I mean, just literally speaking, Wayne shouldn't have to ask that.
Yeah, Wayne should know.
I was thinking maybe since Kate wanted on the raft, but Sawyer ended up going, and this is why he's in that situation. That he was that question was sort of blaming her in a certain way. I mean, obviously he wasn't dead, but it was sort of like, almost blaming her for the fact that he didn't let her on the raft, almost.
Oh, so that's ridiculous.
I mean, I can't really, line that up for that explanation. But I'm just saying, I was trying to think of it as blaming her for him being in that situation, which would be, bad on his part, but.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I was just trying to think of how else he could mean, what else he could mean by that line,
Right. Yeah, I mean, it occurs, but yeah, blaming her is just ridiculous. Unless he's so delirious that he thinks he's looking at the other that shot him. I can't imagine why he would say that. I mean, it just... But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just assumed that even though the horse turned out not to be a hallucination, somehow I just assumed I just can't see him saying it. But I guess it could just be a writing thing, and they just I don't know. I don't think it really matters if he actually said it or not. But in terms of the show, I mean, it sort of comes to the same thing. But
how about this? What if Kate was hallucinating, like, that whole sequence of events? Like, well, some of that can't be a hallucination. But I was thinking, what if, like, when she brings Sawyer out, I mean, I thought it was a little contrived that, Sawyer and Kate come out from the hatch, and they just sort of sit on the rock just to wait for the horse to show up, pretty much.
Right.
So I thought that was a little contrived. But what if that whole thing was hallucination, and he never really saw a horse? She just hallucinated that whole part. So maybe the hallucination is a little more encompassing than that, and that could explain it. I don't know. But why she would hallucinate so much is beyond me.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just gonna say, dude, that he said it. There's no reason to say it. He was delirious. I don't think Wayne said it. The horse was really there. Maybe it was Smokey. I mean, I think it was Smokey. It has to be, right?
I guess. Well, I mean, do the other hallucinations have to be Smokey?
Yeah.
I mean, could it be like the polar bear? Which doesn't seem to be a hallucination.
Zoological research on a horse, I mean, I guess.
Well, I know that's pretty silly, but I guess what I mean is, maybe they have had horses there, not necessarily to research horses, but to I don't even have a theory. I don't know.
Hey man, maybe there's horses on there. I mean,
could there be some reason why they had horses? I mean,
horses are on most continents, you know. I mean, maybe there was horses on. I doubt there make no sense to be horses on the Black Rock, but
I was just gonna say the Black Rock.
Yeah, I don't think that makes any sense to have horses on a slave ship, but maybe.
No.
And then those horses survived and propagated, and
yeah.
I guess, man, why not throw it in the pile?
Sure, it can't hurt.
All right, so I thought it was funny that Kate's mom gave her up. You know, it's a very strange thing to do.
Yeah, I know. She I don't know. She wasn't very sympathetic or understanding. And then at the hospital, she's all scared, and it's just like,
yeah,
you're
I don't know why. I mean, obviously, I guess for her to be a outlaw, she needs to go on the run, so her mom needs to give her up. But just in terms of, you know, the plot, that was a little interesting.
It seems weird to me that she's like this big fugitive based on this murder. I mean, people kill people and don't get caught all the time, and they're not necessarily like hunted, you know, by a single person. You know, especially for a murder like this, where they're obviously not the kind of criminal that's just going to go around killing random people. There's obviously a motive here, and you know, you don't expect Kate to just go start blowing up everybody's house. You know, you don't consider her a threat to the public. So to me, devoting that much energy to catching her is just sort of silly. I mean,
I sort of thought. I mean, we could probably use another BS to figure this out for sure. But I sort of thought like, you know, she committed the murder, and then it was a regular sort of police case, and that marshal guy was, you know, assigned to it, and he went and got her the first time. It was going to be pretty clear cut, but you know, because he said, you know, when they're driving in the car, he sort of gives her the rundown on the situation, you know. So he's done things like this before. He knows the type. So I think it became personal, you know, after the first time when like she got away. You know, he seems like the kind of person who that would, you know, not sit well with him, and so it became less that the law, like less than that the police were just like, you know, intense manhunt after her. Then he was the one pushing for it, like when she went on the lam, because obviously it was like, how many was it, 4 years that she was on the run or something like that. You know, I think it was basically it was the marshal guy who was pushing for this the whole time to keep going after her, going to different continents and following her all these other places. I think it became really personal for him, and I think that's.
But I mean, even that like initial scene in the station where, you know, he catches her the first time. I mean, there's like all those people there just to get her.
There's three people.
It just seems sort of ridiculous to even devote. I mean, did they really think she was that big of a deal? Like, I don't know.
Well, that station scene was textbook, you know, writing. So, I mean, the camera cuts to those undercover guys who are, like, staring at her and have earpieces sticking out of their ear. Like,
yeah.
That was pretty crappy, you know, but...
yeah. But do they really think she's going to be that much of a problem? I mean, you know.
Well, don't forget the show is setting up that she's, you know, this very feisty person, you know.
Yeah, I know. They're really trying, but I just, you know, she never does enough for me to buy that.
Oh, but she can cut a mean haircut.
Oh, God.
Let's move on to one of the many good references in these episodes. As we talked about off podcast, after the other 48 days, when Goodwin details how Nathan was a bad person and talks about, you know, them being good, the others being good, you know, in general, we started to notice a lot of references to Losties saying that, you know, I'm good, I'm not good, this person's good, I'm bad. a lot of reference to that. There's a scene with Jack and Kate when she gets really emotional for very little reason, and she says, "I'm sorry, Jack. I'm sorry I'm not as perfect as you. I'm sorry I'm not as good." She extends that word pretty long there. So obviously they're setting up good and bad, because season 2 is all about good and bad. As Henry will soon say, I don't know what he says. What does he say? I'm a good guy or something.
We're the good guys.
We're the good guys. Maybe they're not attacking you. Maybe they want to throw you a pizza party. Yeah. So anyway, I thought it was interesting that Kate sort of realizes she's not good, and she's dealing with her past and all that stuff. And in that scene, I wondered why when, she kisses Jack and they sort of kiss, and then they stop and she looks at him very strangely and sort of like disappointedly, and then runs away, sort of crying. And to me, what I thought in my head that was about, I mean, it's sort of a minor thing, but it was a very strange reaction to have, I think, after you kiss somebody, to look at them very puzzled. And I was thinking maybe she felt that, let's see if I can explain this, that she felt sort of like Jack, she thought when she kissed him that maybe Jack was like her, maybe he wasn't as good or whatever, but the point being that when she kissed him, she realized she just got some sort of feeling that he's intrinsically good, intrinsically better, they'll never be the same type of people, and that sort of scared her and made her sad, and that's why she stopped kissing him and left. That's just sort of what I interpreted from that look she gave. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that.
I didn't even notice the look.
Yeah, if you get a chance anytime soon, go back and look at that scene. It's a very strange look, because usually, when two people kiss, they kiss and then they either say something about it or whatever, but she just sort of stops and looks at him like very puzzled. She was very puzzled and sort of sad and depressed, looks like. And then she's, runs away crying. So you got to wonder what that means.
Yeah.
After, and I believe it was, just after her, the kiss was just after her "I'm not as good" speech.
Yeah.
So anyway, what else? Orientation film?
Yeah, okay. You want to talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay. I think, does Locke edit the thing in this episode?
He does.
Yeah. That's, I guess that's a really easy thing to do.
As a person who's done tape-to-tape editing, like with real tape and a real flatbed editing machine, it's fairly easy. And especially what he did was really easy. All he basically did, when I originally saw this episode, and when you watch the original orientation film, there's a lot of gaps in the footage.
Oh yeah.
So when they say there's pieces missing, you think there's many pieces missing. And so when they found the original, or I should say when they found the pieces that were missing rolled up in the Bible, I thought to myself, he's going to have one hell of a time splicing that piece of shit back together, because there were a lot of edits taken out of there. But of course, you finish watching it, and there's really only one big edit that he splices back in there.
Yeah.
And that was very easy to do, because basically, if you watch him, he looks at the roll of film, and he finds where the tape is. Because basically, to make a splice, you take a razor, and you cut the part that where you want the edit to be, and then so you have that cut, and then you cut the second part where you want the new edit to start, and you put the first piece with the second piece, I should say the third piece, and then the middle piece is what you take out, obviously, and then you join those pieces, those two pieces with a piece of tape. So all he did was look for the tape, and that told him where the splice was. And so he knew where to splice it back into, and he just got to use tape and tape it back down. He looks like he was using masking tape, so it would have been blurry on screen, but I guess I won't nitpick too much. You're supposed to use a special kind of tape. But anyway,
Hey, give him a break.
give him a break. He's
on an island. Jeez.
Yeah.
It struck me as another skill that Locke sort of had, but I guess if it's easy enough, then it's not that.
It is fair. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, what he did. I'm not saying film editing is easy, but what he did, I'll say 1 to 5, easy. 1 being really easy, 5 being really hard. It was like a 2 or a 1. I mean, it was fairly easy to do.
Okay.
You just got to know what you got to know what this edit's going to look like, and it's obviously where it's joined together with tape. So
right.
He knew where to put it back in. So that was I think that's the hardest part, is knowing where it goes.
Right. Yeah, that's where I would have been stuck.
Yeah. But the real thing is, Michael sees the film and he asks Locke about the missing pieces, and Locke goes, "Oh, it's just a splice here and there, nothing important." And I'm thinking to myself, wow, he couldn't be more wrong.
Yeah.
But of course, he's sort of right, because when we, as you will know if you watch the episode, when we get the missing piece, it doesn't tell you anything you couldn't have guessed. Basically, the missing piece says don't use the computer, for communication. Which the only reason that we found the missing piece, the only reason is it sets up what Michael does in the very next scene, which is get on there and use the computer for communication.
Right.
It basically sets up the drama because we've just been told that under no circumstances did you do that, and he goes and does that. So we're like, oh no, what's he doing? I think we would have been wary anyway if he just hopped on there communicating. But the writers gave us that dire warning with the missing piece, which if you watch the original film, you can pick up that it was saying don't use it for anything else but pressing the button.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was sort of a point of contention for me because I thought that was sort of a waste of time, but whatever.
Yeah, but it brings up some questions. I mean, according to the season 2 finale, it was Radzinski that made this edit.
Yeah.
And so one question would be, why did he do that?
Well, why would Radzinski not want people to know that they shouldn't use it for communication?
Yeah.
I would say if he plans on I don't know. I mean, what would be the reason that he would want someone to communicate on there? I mean, basically, if he wanted to be able to have communication with who's ever in the hatch if he's not there. Now, I've got a whole theory that maybe we should save for later about the hunting party on what was going on with Michael talking to quote-unquote Walt on the computer. And we should save that maybe?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it comes back up in 3 minutes. It's, they kind of show that stuff a few times.
It's a probably extended theory. I guess I'll save it for the hunting party.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
But anyway, so I can't really answer that question without getting to my theory about what that whole computer thing was about anyway. Okay. But I guess my tentative statement on that is that I really don't know why Radzinski would want someone to communicate or not want them to know that they shouldn't communicate.
Right.
I don't know, man. I feel like there was more edits in the film than just that.
Me too.
And I feel like Radzinski may have taken out more important things, and that this piece right here that we found was just to set up what Michael was about to do.
Yeah, especially the utopian social thing. I remember that there's a big edit there that sort of disappeared. And I mean, maybe we'll find more. I don't know. Maybe it's just destroyed and we'll never see it again. I don't know. But another thing that you may not be able to answer is what about Michael talking to quote unquote Walt? Is it really Walt?
That's my theory. I mean, I've got an explanation.
That's part of your theory? Okay, well, all right, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
And then I guess I'll say what my theory is on that later, which is probably much more boring than yours.
Well, mine's true, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess truth is less boring than fiction. So I think I don't have anything else on this episode. Do you have more? you want to talk about?
I guess it's the 23rd Psalm is when actually he gets a message from Walt and he leaves. Sorry, I was in my notes. It's not hunting party. That's when they're chasing him.
Oh, okay.
But no, let's see. I thought it was interesting. Echo says, "Don't mistake coincidence for fate."
Ah, yeah.
That
right.
was to me that was a very big line. I think when Echo comes into the picture in terms of the show, he is more connected to the island than Locke is at that point. And maybe not necessarily getting messages from the island like Locke was, but he's more in the sort of mystical. I feel like he's more on the right path than Locke is at this point. I don't think he's getting the same sort of information from the island that Locke was getting, but I think he's just sort of, by sheer luck or just by his own nature, he's sort of more parallel to the island's whatever right now than Locke is.
Yeah.
So when he says "don't mistake coincidence for fate," I think that was a clear-cut sign of basically, hey Locke, you thought, that everything was leading up to you getting the hatch, but, that's just coincidence,
Right.
The fact that you found the dynamite, that was coincidence,
Right.
It's not, don't mistake it for fate. And that's, it's a very poignant line. I really like that line because it makes you think about a lot of things. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, and it's interesting that he said that because, it was really, earlier in the episode, he tells this long story that leads up to him, giving Locke the Bible that has the extra.
Oh, Josiah, the good king.
Right.
God, I love that story.
Yeah, I barely followed it.
If you don't mind, I will begin at the beginning. Boy, when you say beginning, you mean beginning. What was that supposed to be funny? That's a weird, jokey thing to say.
Yeah.
When you say beginning, you mean beginning. I feel like Mel Brooks wrote that. Jeez. Did this even a Mel Brooks line?
Oh God. Oh boy, when you say beginning, okay.
That's like a knee slapper.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of jokey, but Echo's being very serious, so I guess they're trying to bring some levity into the proceedings a bit.
Well, can we talk about this story real quick?
Yeah.
Because I think there's something that okay. I guess huh?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I guess I'll read it real quick for those of us who don't remember right offhand.
Yeah, and I'd like to count myself among those because I didn't really follow it. He confused me. So
it's one of those stories that you follow all the way into the very last thing, and then you don't understand how one thing led to the other.
Right.
And so here we go. Echo is just sitting at the kitchen table by himself, apparently waiting for Locke to pass by because he's not doing anything but sitting there with the Bible.
Right.
He's just it's very strange. Anyway, Locke comes in. Locke says hello. Echo says hello. And he says, I have something I think you should see. If you don't mind, we'll begin at the beginning. Long before Christ, the king of Judah was a man named Josiah. And Locke says, boy, when you say beginning, you mean beginning. And Echo says,
Waka waka.
Yeah, waka waka waka. At that time, the temple where the people worshipped was in ruin. And so the people worshipped idols, false gods. And so the kingdom was in disarray. Josiah, since he was a good king, sent his secretary to the treasury and said, we must rebuild the temple. Give all the gold to the workers so that this will be done. But when the secretary returned, he had no gold. And when Josiah asked him why this was, the secretary replied, we found the book. And he says, do you know this story? And Locke says, no, I'm afraid I don't. Echo says, what the secretary had found was an ancient book, the Book of Law. You may know it as the Old Testament. And it was with that ancient book, not with the gold, that Josiah rebuilt the temple. And on the other side of the island, we found a place much like this. And in this place, we found the book. Echo unwraps the book, pushes it towards Locke. I believe what's inside there will be of great value to you. Now, it's a very good story. It's very interesting, captivating. What it leads up to, I don't think is tantamount. But first, first let's talk about the story. I thought it was very strange that, I mean, I guess I shouldn't nitpick the story too much, but he said,
I still don't get it. I'm missing something.
Okay, basically Josiah was the king of Judah, and since all of the I guess this is before Christ, so they weren't Christian. I don't really know I don't know. I don't know. Okay, well, they had the Old Testament before Jesus, so this was I don't know. So
I think they're pretty much Jewish.
Yeah, I guess they're just I guess this is Judaism. So anyway, Josiah is the king. I guess it's Judah. It's probably Judaism. Josiah was the king. The temples were in worship. Have you ever seen the Ten Commandments?
No.
With Charlton Heston that comes on like every year. You haven't seen that?
Sorry, I never had a desire to watch it.
You know, it's actually very interesting. It's just in terms of being an old epic. It's interesting to see how those went. But anyway, there's a scene in there where the people are worshiping false idols and like golden lambs and stuff like that instead of worshiping God, and that's when Moses goes on the mountain or whatever and gets the Ten Commandments and comes down and says, "Hey people, this is what you should be doing."
Right.
So it's a very similar story. Basically, the people are worshiping false gods, and so Josiah wants to rebuild the Jewish temple, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why the workers need the gold to do this. I don't know if the workers are going to build the temple out of gold. I'm not sure what that
I guess
meant.
the idea is you have to pay them to build it?
I guess. I mean, kings don't usually. I mean, that's not usually how despotism works, but.
Well, what do they do for? I mean, how do the people live if they're not paid?
Well,
for
they're
stuff?
paid, but I don't think you pay them in like you don't just give the workers gold. I mean, maybe he's paraphrasing, so I'll run past that one. Maybe he's just,
okay.
But he's basically saying the workers need some sort of resource to build. So whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine they'd build the temple out of gold. That'd be crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, instead of the gold, they found the book. They found the Old Testament.
So, but what I don't understand is, okay, the secretary leaves, right?
Yeah.
And he's supposed to go get gold. So, like, what happens between him? Like, is he just walking and, oh, look, there's a book, and then he looks at it and he's like, oh, we don't need gold. Like, is that what happened?
No,
like,
basically, the secretary goes into the treasury, which would be some sort of, hopefully guarded place. With guards and, maybe some sort of, doors or I don't know. And he goes in and he looks, and instead of piles and piles of gold, he sees one book. And basically, obviously, that's a very strange thing to happen, because how would all this gold go missing? And basically...
The gold went missing?
Yeah, the gold was not there.
Where is that in the story?
He says, but when the secretary returned, he had no gold. And when Josiah asked him why this was, he replied, "We found a book." Okay.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't. I mean, he didn't come back with any gold. But does that mean all the gold disappeared?
Oh, I guess that doesn't make that. I just thought it meant the gold disappeared. I guess. I guess that didn't happen. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. I sort of assumed the gold disappeared. I'm trying to make the story more fantastical. Okay.
Your version made more sense to me. Like I can grasp it. I just didn't. I couldn't get it out of the words.
Okay. I guess what he's saying is the gold may or may not have been there. I guess that's not the point. The point is they found a book in where the gold was, in the treasury.
It was in the treasury?
Yeah.
You assume it was in the treasury.
Well, that's what he said.
He didn't say he found it in the treasury.
Damn, I hate this story.
Yeah,
I
know.
Like this is like one of those reading comprehension tests, and you read the story, then they ask you questions, and I'm failing all of it because I'm piecing together connections that he didn't explicitly say.
See, you're making it make more sense, but like the reason why I don't understand it is he's not giving enough details to sort of understand like what happened.
Okay, so basically the secretary left to get gold.
Yeah,
but he didn't. He either didn't go to the treasury, he didn't get to the treasury, and because along the way he found the book, or he got to the treasury and found a book in the treasury, or ran into somebody who said we found a book. nevertheless, he did not come back with gold.
Or he went to the treasury, got the gold, then left, then found a book and said, "Oh, I don't need the gold." Then he put the gold back, and then he came back with the book.
Yeah, why not? Throw that one in there too. Anyway, they found a book. I think. Well, see, to me, I think the book needs to be of importance. I think in order for it to be for it to be interesting that they found this book, it needs to either be in the treasury where there wouldn't be a book, or it needs to be, replace the gold. Or I think there's some fantastical stuff missing here for them to really care about this book.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Why when he found the book, did he assume now, oh, I don't need the gold anymore?
Okay. Oh, this is why I think they found the book in the treasury. Is because he told the secretary to go to the treasury, right?
Right.
Okay. When the secretary came back, he said, Echo says what the secretary had found was an ancient book. So I figured that means he found it in the treasury.
Okay.
I feel like that's what that means. Like, he went to the treasury, and that's where he found the book. Anyway, it's.
It doesn't matter. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't get that out of what he's saying, but okay, I'll buy it.
Well, because he says what the secretary had found was an ancient book, and it's like, well, where was he looking? Well, he was looking in the treasury, so I figured that's where he found the book.
Oh, okay.
He says, okay, so instead of rebuilding, he didn't. And when he says he rebuilt the temple not with the gold but with the book, I think he means, metaphorically, is that he sort of united the people under their original religion with that important book of law. And so it didn't take the gold to rebuild the temple. It took the sort of it was sort of
the people didn't need
a sort of ideological rebuild. It's like, hey, instead of I guess sort of like, if you build it, they will come type thing, he basically gave them something more important or more captivating, which was the Book of Law, and that sort of united them, and then they got rebuilt from that. I guess.
So they didn't, before the book, they wanted compensation, but after the book, they'll just build it for free? I
think the followers of the religion rebuilt the temple, not necessarily the workers. If that makes any sense.
Okay.
Like they were so united,
Okay. All right. So I want to know how the arrow hatch was much like this.
Well, because
and when he says much like this, what does he mean? Much like the treasury, much like the temple, much like what?
I think he. Well, the last thing he says is temple, and then he said much like this. So you would assume he means as much like the temple, but okay. I think he means the treasury in that. He went into the treasury. I mean, he went into the arrow hatch and found a book. Just like, and that's the other thing that makes me think they found the book in the treasury is that they found the Bible in the arrow hatch. So yeah. I think they found the Book of Law, which I guess was the Torah, as my Wikipedia entry says.
Right.
And so that's what that was about.
Yeah, my understanding is that. The Old Testament and the Torah are essentially the same thing, so yeah. that makes sense. Okay, so the analogy is the.
I'm sorry, real quick. I'm on Wikipedia. Apparently, Hilkiah, I guess, was the. He looks like he's a high priest, and I haven't read the whole thing, but it says when Hilkiah was clearing the treasury room of the temple, he is said to have found a scroll described as the book of the Torah, and so apparently, according to history or whatever, he found it in the temple. Oh okay. Wait, he found it in the treasury room.
In the treasury
right. Yeah, he found it in the treasury room. So yeah, that's
okay, good. So you got it.
Yeah.
That's good. So, so the arrow hatch is like the treasury.
Yes.
All right, fine. I guess I'll buy that. I mean, a treasury is sort of a storage place, so except I guess you generally keep money there, but it is a storage facility, so okay, fine.
I guess it's like it in that they found something unexpected that would lead to greater understanding about something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird. Does he actually think that this film is as valuable?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It really doesn't lead to anything. I really think, like, if I was who wrote this episode? This is Stephen Maida and Craig Wright. I love this story. I love how it plays out. I love how it ties to what's going on. It doesn't do it very well, but when you're watching it, you're captivated, and I think that's all it is. It's just a story. It doesn't make a lot of sense because I don't think you're supposed to really nitpick it. And it basically is surmising a lot with the story of the finding of the Torah. Which, from what I just looked at Wikipedia, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem. It's doing a lot of summarization. And it's trying to tie together what's going on.
Sorry.
No, I'm done.
That's really odd. Like I never. So according to this story, the Old Testament just sort of, or the Torah just sort of appeared. Like no one knew where it came from. It wasn't like dictated to somebody or whatever, and it just appeared one day.
Yeah, I think
fully written.
other what do you call it? Chapters and other things were divinely inspired. I mean, I'm not a Bible expert, obviously, but I do play one on TV. No, so I think other things were, but apparently, according to this, they said what they found, what many scholars believe it was either a copy of the book of Deuteronomy or a text that became Deuteronomy. So it wasn't like the whole thing, I guess. It wasn't like the whole Old Testament. Did I say that right? Whole Old Testament. It was one small piece of it.
Okay. Okay, well, all right. That makes more sense.
It's very interesting. And I think the other big reason for this story is that it ties together, religion with Echo.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. So I think that's the other big thing.
Yeah. With him, everything's about that somehow.
I got a couple other little things, if we can move on.
Please.
I love when the marshal is explaining, Kate's like, you don't know me or whatever, and he's like, oh yeah, white trash mom, blah blah blah, daddy drinks, blah blah blah. And I love the story, part of the story when he goes, white trash mom marries a drunk because, well, that's what happens. There's a very very shady logic there. Like he was doing really well, he was saying what happened and why, and then he goes, yeah, white trash mom marries a drunk, well, because that's what happens. It's just like, all right, buddy, you're just fishing there. Anyway, I just pointed that out. That was funny.
No, I actually like that because it almost makes sense to me.
Yeah, I know it does. That's the thing. That is what happens, but it's just
but
he doesn't give a real reason. He, it's like white trash mom marries a drunk because well, she has low self-esteem, and he's around, so she'll take that over nothing. He didn't say that. He's like, just that's what happens.
Well, it's sort of unreasonable. So I don't know. It's like that's what people do. That's how. I don't know. I like that line.
Yeah, it stood out. It stood out.
I like the I like the marshal in general. I forget about him from time to time, and it's nice when he shows up because he's his own character. I don't know. He's really I guess he's supposed to be really mean, or we're supposed to hate him or something. But I don't know. I like his.
I don't. He's a guy doing his job. I don't really dislike him. I mean, he's sort of abrasive. you know. But I don't dislike him. He's interesting. He at least gives a little conflict.
Yeah.
Unlike some people.
Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess he kind of prods her a bit, but yeah, it's just weird. It's weird for the people who were on the island. I mean, you kind of forget about. I forget that he was even there at one point. You know, the pilot and all these other people that just sort of died really early on. Doesn't even seem like they were ever characters on the island.
They weren't.
They weren't.
You like
all
that?
Right. So, anything else?
Yeah,
what
I got
else
a couple
got?
little things.
Come on,
as I think I mentioned in the last podcast, you know, this job I'm currently doing, I work with the Army in a certain respect. And I've got a little bit of inside knowledge on how the Army works and a little bit of rank structure. And I just want to point out a little inconsistency. It's pretty minor. It doesn't really matter. But, you know, Kate walks in and talks to her dad, which is not her real dad, because Wayne is her real dad, as we find out.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in what appears to be a recruiting office, okay? So let me point out the many different things that's wrong with this. First of all, Army recruiters, when they're going to work on a normal day, they wear their normal, what they're called, what is it called? It's a regular, basically, if you picture a regular Army uniform, that's what they wear. Like what you would sort of wear in battle, it's their combat uniform they wear. What these guys were wearing were like dress uniforms. And I just can't imagine them wearing that to work every day. It doesn't make any sense. It's not realistic. The other thing to point out is that Kate's dad was a sergeant major, which is pretty much the second highest rank you can have as an enlisted soldier in the Army. Why he's working the front desk at a recruiting station is beyond me. He definitely would not be. First of all, he'd have an office in the back somewhere. Second of all, he wouldn't be working at a recruiting station. So anyway, I just wanted to point those little things out because they caught my attention because it didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That's actually a very, very high rank. So he would be doing something a little more, I think, interesting, a little more. Maybe he was just hanging out for the day, temping. I don't know, but anyway, that's just what I want to point out about that.
There's Saeed in the background.
Saeed's in the background. If you look, I think you can only really catch him at the very last shot of the scene before Kate heads out the door. They pan behind the dad, and you can see Saeed on TV.
Yeah, it was a nice little thing there.
It was. So I guess we should talk a little bit about, you know, the thing about the dad when Kate asked her, I guess her fad?
Yes.
I guess he's a fad, or a fatty, or a father.
Ooh, that
doesn't work.
Wow, you know, I just spotted a big flaw in our falsifying.
Maybe it should
method.
Should it be father, or maybe two F's become a something else. I don't know though.
Wow, God, that just nothing that starts with F can be fake. That's
So if there was a fake floor, it's still a floor.
Yeah. We'll never know. Hey, that's a floor. Yeah, it sure is.
But if you wrote it out, you could put an F in front, like F dash floor. But then you should say for floor.
For floor?
Yeah, man, that's just silly.
Yeah.
Let's hope they'll never have anything fake with an F. We won't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
no fake Franks or.
So anyway, when her fad was talking, she said, you know, so why didn't you kill Wayne? And he says, because I don't have murder in my heart.
Oh God.
I thought he was going to say, because I'm not a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty much the same thing. Right. So I guess we should assume that he basically wanted her to kill the guy. Like, or at least he wanted the guy dead. Because... Right? Because he says I didn't tell you that he was your dad because I knew you'd kill him, and your mother loved him, and I wanted to take you and she wouldn't let me. So he wanted the guy dead. And he
I
was
thought
like,
he was saying that he didn't tell her because if he told her, she would kill him. I thought that's what he meant. But you're saying he's saying I didn't tell you because I knew you'd kill him if I didn't tell you.
well, he says, now I'm confused on what I thought. He says, I didn't tell you because I knew you'd kill him. So if I told you, you would kill him. So
That's what I thought he meant.
So I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to kill him. Right?
Yeah, that's what I thought he meant.
I thought he meant... Well, because she says, why didn't you kill him? That means she would want him dead. That means he wanted him dead. Why she wouldn't ask that question unless that's what she thought he meant. Right? If he was saying, I didn't tell you because I don't want the guy dead, then she wouldn't say, so why didn't you kill him? Because he basically just said, I didn't want the guy dead. So he might...
I don't think he's saying necessarily that he didn't want the guy dead, but that he didn't want her to kill him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
So,
well, that goes back to my point, right?
So then she's saying, why didn't you kill him? You didn't want me to do it, but why didn't you do it?
Yeah. So he wanted the guy dead. He just didn't want Kate to do it, and he wasn't going to do it because he didn't have murder in his heart.
Right.
Basically, right?
Yeah.
But he wanted the guy dead.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I mean, I guess.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Right. Sorry. Took me a second.
Okay. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting to point out that, he's sort of a bad person for wanting somebody dead, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have murder in his heart, but he's got it on his mind, so.
Yeah.
Zing.
Well, yeah. Does it make you bad just to want somebody dead?
If you really want them dead, I think that's a step in that direction towards being bad.
Even if the person you want dead is really bad?
Wow, if it's Wayne, I guess it doesn't matter. Like if
it were Wayne,
is it bad to kill Hitler? I guess is the question.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Exactly.
Well,
it's an obvious example.
Do two wrongs make a right?
Well, I'm not even asking you to kill him. I'm just saying, what if you just wanted Hitler to die? You didn't kill him. You just wanted him to die.
I guess it depends on where your moral base is coming from. Religiously, thou shalt not kill, which should relate to thou shalt not want people dead, I guess. I mean, like I said, I think it's one of those things where as long as you don't kill him, you're okay. I think wanting somebody dead is just... I
don't think it's necessarily good, but
it's almost bad. I think it's almost bad.
I don't think you're a bad person just for that alone. I feel like you need a few more points against you before you.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Dip into that category because Wayne is obviously a pretty bad person. So, I mean, killing him is one thing. I definitely consider that wrong, but just sort of wanting him dead, it just seems sort of understandable.
Mm-hmm.
What
I would like, since we're talking about this, is, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, is how do they know Kate did it? I mean, the mom turned her in, but how does the mom? I mean, obviously the mom knows, but I just want to know what evidence is there that she did it.
Well, according to the marshal, didn't he? I think he said something about that. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's see.
He just says a gas leak. Come on, it's amateur hour from top to bottom.
Oh, why'd you kill him now? Oh, right, yeah, don't tell me. You wouldn't want to incriminate yourself, not after you were so smart planning it. That jury back in Iowa sure ain't going to get hung up on premeditation. And a gas leak, come on, it's amateur hour from top to bottom. I guess he's saying, she wasn't very, very good at... you know.
But I mean,
I guess he's saying they have enough evidence to prove that she did it.
But I mean, they have motive. They don't. I don't think they have any physical evidence. I mean, they have the mom saying that. I guess the mom saying she confessed, but it's her word against Kate.
Are you sure they don't have any evidence? I mean, where are you getting that from?
Well, I mean, what evidence would they have? I mean, any sort of...
I don't know. I mean, we didn't see what she did.
Well, I'm saying any sort of fingerprints or anything like that is gone in the explosion. I mean...
Okay, so if you blow up a place, it's impossible for them to ever know you did it. I think there could be evidence.
What I'm saying is, it's obviously somebody did it, but how they can pin it on Kate... I mean, obviously, if she doesn't have an alibi for where she was, you know, that's bad. But I'm just saying, for physical evidence,
you don't think they could find something like
what? Like, I don't know what could survive in an blast like that would link it like specifically back to her.
You don't think she could have, you know? Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how she did it exactly.
I mean, no real biological evidence is, you know, no hair or, you know, anything is gonna, you know, and even if they found hair, she lived in the house. So that's, you know, that would explain that. I just don't know what they would use. I mean, basically gas leak, you know, obviously, you know, they either have a gas heating system and or like a gas stove. So she just sort of like, you know, took the little thing off and let it fill up in the room, and she had some sort of a little charger or something to ignite a spark at a certain point.
They would have to like find that thing.
Yeah, they'd have to find the ignition thing, and you know, and I mean, maybe she didn't wear gloves, but would there really be like fingerprints on something like that after an explosion? You know, I just
not only that, like the way she runs, you know, or tries to fight them when they come to get her. I mean, that doesn't help her case.
True. It doesn't. That's the thing. I mean, I guess I don't. I mean, I've never really seen a case like this in court or anything. But so I don't know how much evidence you really need. But I'm just saying they don't really have a lot of evidence.
So you're saying that like I mean, I just can't buy that it's foolproof.
I don't think it's foolproof.
I mean, you can just do this and get away with it. I don't buy that.
I don't buy it either.
I bet there's some way.
There doesn't seem like there's a lot of physical. I'm just saying physical evidence that now, obviously, like I said, she doesn't have an alibi, or at least she doesn't seem like she's got one that they can corroborate. You know, the mom says she did it, but why can't Kate just say Mom did it? Mom told me she did it. I got so scared, I tried to get the hell out of there. I was going to, you know, I was trying to run to Tallahassee because my mom freaked me out. She killed this guy.
She could say that, but Kate's not going to do that.
I know she's not going to, but I'm just saying, like, it's her word against the mom's. Like, so, I mean, so what are you going to really do against that? You know, the mom doesn't have it on tape that she confessed.
I think there are ways of obtaining evidence in the case of a building blowing up. I mean, it happens, you know? And I don't think, there was actually a doctor in New York who did this.
And the only reason they knew who did it was where the explosion happened and the fact he sent an email to somebody saying pretty much that he was going to do it. So they had physical proof, you know. And they knew, like, I think his wife had just left him or something like that too, so that was part of his motive. But what I'm saying is physical evidence. Physical evidence. I mean, when the Sopranos, when they blew up Artie Bucco's restaurant, the police never found out who did it.
Okay, okay.
That's the closest thing I have. Okay, it's the same situation. The police never found out who did it. You know. So,
all right, but
well, let's just go to our listeners. If there's any forensics experts or law enforcement personnel out there who have any insights onto how investigators can get physical evidence in the case of a explosion of a house like this, we'd really love to know. Email us at lostlowdown@gmail.com.
Well, what would you look for in that case? Because I can't buy that there's no way that it's basically the perfect crime, that as long as you're not spotted there and you don't have an obvious motive, you're just gonna get away
I'll
with
totally
it no
buy
matter
that.
what.
I would totally buy that if you cross your T's and dot your I's, you know, you're not spotted, you know, you're wearing gloves, you don't leave any sort of, you know, biological traces behind. I mean, how else would they tie it to you? You know, you get some sort of, I mean, if you build some sort of ignition thing or you buy some sort of black market thing to blow or whatever however you want to rig it, how else? I mean, people, you can bomb stuff all the time. I mean, you can go send a bomb somewhere, and how are they going to tie it to you unless
But they
have
catch
physical,
people who do this. So
with
there
physical,
are ways.
But that's with physical proof, with physical evidence. You know what I mean? They have fingerprints, they have whatever, DNA, you know. But
yeah,
they don't.
I mean, couldn't she have left evidence like in front of the house? You know, like
but she
places...
lived at the house. I mean, any sort of physical evidence from her being there can be explained by the fact she lived there. Did she live there?
I don't think she did.
Actually,
live
I think
there.
she had been gone for a while.
Yeah,
she had been gone for a while. Anyway, let's move on.
Okay,
we've been harping on that for a while.
Yeah.
23rd Psalm.
Yeah. It's for me. It's just like that island thing. Like, you know, if someone heard the message, would they respond? Or the thing where if you kill somebody on a deserted island, are you held responsible for? It's one of those things where I just don't want to believe that this is something you can just get away with.
Yeah.
No matter, you know what I mean?
Well, it
bothers me.
The killing somebody on an island thing is just a clear-cut law issue. It's all about, you know, the confusion was what does the law say about it, basically? Who owns it? Who has the right to charge the person? You know, is it that person's home country? Is it whatever country's closest to that island? I mean, I think all islands are claimed at this point, but if there was an island that wasn't claimed, it would probably be in some country's waters, so they would sort of have de facto ownership of it, you know, even if they never found it. So, I mean, that's a clear-cut issue. This is, I mean, there are perfect crimes out there. I mean, haven't you seen movies?
I like to believe that there aren't perfect crimes, and that there's always a way to catch someone.
I mean, remember when
and that there's something we're not thinking of, some sort of way of getting evidence from a scene that's been blown up. But you know, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I'm just
I mean, remember years ago when people were sending all that anthrax through the mail and stuff like that. I mean, they were never catching those people. You know, they never caught those people who were doing that. You know, and that's a crime. Anyway.
Okay.
Mr. Echo is infuriated to learn about the Virgin Mary statues, and a flashback explains why. Okay.
The 23rd Psalm.
The 23rd Psalm. Yeah, I said that a long time ago.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. I should have said it again.
I just thought you didn't say it, so I wanted to throw it in there.
He demands that Charlie lead him to the rest of the statues. Locke secures the weapons in the armory, but Michael wants to be taught how to shoot. Charlie makes a desperate appeal to Claire. That was a very short summary of what happened.
It was very
to the point.
Very direct.
Yeah, very to the point. A flashback explains why.
This. Yeah, it was very, very noun, verb, reason.
Oh, it's a law synopsis for first graders. Okay, obviously, this is Echo's BS. We learn a lot of very interesting things about this man of faith. I'd like to mention that his flashback starts out the same as Saeed's flashback, where it starts in their native language for the first couple seconds, minute, whatever, and then it quickly switches to English.
Even though, according to Wikipedia, English is the official language of Nigeria, so I really don't know what they're speaking. But I don't know.
Maybe the insurgent rebels speak something else.
Yeah, there might be local dialects or something, but they do at least speak English in Nigeria. At least some people do, so it's not completely ridiculous.
Yeah,
that they're speaking English. So
yes,
anyway.
it's a little. I mean, it's a little different than the Saeed one when they weren't supposed to be speaking English, I guess. But it's the same concept where they start us out in like a native language, and then we switch to English so that we can follow along easy.
Right. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's true.
So my notes are all over the place. Can I ask how Locke knows how to renumber a safe?
Oh God.
How does he know? I mean, I didn't even know you could do that. How does he know how to take apart a combination lock and redo the code to open it? I just don't get that. And at this point, when he's seemingly off of the path, I don't buy that the island is telling him how.
Yeah, I know. We can't fall back on that catch-all anymore.
No.
Maybe the island told him about it before he got off the path.
Oh,
it was just a good thing. Like maybe it just taught him everything he needed. You know,
it's like the
quick.
Matrix. It's like the Matrix. He just got to download whatever scenarios he needed and use whenever. God.
And so he still has it, even though he's on the wrong path now.
No,
you're right. That's I thought it was really easy. Like I thought it was, I thought changing the combination was a matter of just like you push the middle of the thing. And then
but then what would stop someone who's trying to break into the safe?
Oh wait! Oh, that's so not foolproof, is it?
Yeah, you could just
actually
change it to whatever number you want when you want to get in there.
Oh, that's really bad. I'm sorry, it didn't even occur to me how bad that was. Yeah, I guess you shouldn't have a thing that's that easy to reset.
Yeah.
But it still sucks because all you do is take off that front part, right?
That's the thing. I don't understand how. I mean, it seems like you would. I thought he was renumbering from the back, but so many shots you see, he just took off the front part. But I guess the problem is that you would take. I mean, if a bad guy or somebody was trying to get in there, and they decide to take off the front part, you still need to know what to do to renumber it. I mean, they had that close up when he was doing it, and I couldn't tell. I mean, obviously he was moving some dials, but I think you still need to sort of know what you're doing, and But anyway, it did seem.
But if someone else knew,
if someone else knew, then they could
say if Jack changed it, Locke should be able to get in there.
Yeah, but it looks like it would take some time, but he could get in there. He could definitely get in there. To me, I don't know how realistic that is. If there's anyone out there who works for a lock company,
we need all kinds of people.
We need all kinds of help because I don't want to buy that it's that easy to just. I've never seen anybody ever do that. Change the lock like that. Never seen that.
Yeah. That one doesn't bother me as much as the other thing, but I don't buy it either.
What other thing?
Ridiculous. The thing with blowing up and finding evidence.
Oh, yeah, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, but I agree that if you can do that it just seems like what's the point of even having the, it should just stick to the combination that it has.
Yeah.
If you can just change it, it doesn't seem like it's a very good lock system.
Now, how did he know the original? I guess he never knew the original combination, right? Or did?
Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. Maybe Desmond told. I think Desmond showed him the armory, so maybe he.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
And can I ask why? Why am I asking permission? But can I ask why?
Yes, you may.
Mother, may I? Can I ask why Locke gets to be in charge of the armory and who gets access and who doesn't and who knows the code and who doesn't? It's my hatch, it's my armory.
Oh.
He's such a big baby.
Locke, he doesn't talk like. Oh wait, yeah, he does.
Yeah, it's so weird that because when he changed it, he was like, oh well, with people down here, we don't need everyone knowing the combination, and it's a very good precaution, but it's like, who are you to decide? That you're just in charge of it just because, you had a bad childhood, somebody stole your kidney?
Yeah. Yeah, he's just appointed himself the armory guard.
Yeah.
And that it's his responsibility to protect everyone else from themselves using guns.
Oh, can I bring up one thing that's old that I forgot to mention the last podcast?
Right.
About the beginning of season 2, when when the button is about to go down, Desmond has already left the hatch.
Mm-hmm.
The button's about to expire, and and Jack's like, "Hey, Locke, you better push a button." And Locke's like, "You do it, Jack." And Jack's like, "No, I'm not gonna do it. It's not real. I'm not gonna do it." And then he does it. I just thought that was really crappy. I really wish Jack would have stuck to his guns on that one and made Locke push it. Like, I thought that was a very good stance for him to take. It was like, hey, Locke, you want this button. You want to get down here. You want to be all, mystical and into this fate thing. Everything happens for a reason. You go push your goddamn button. I'm not going to do it. But he does it, and then like, by that act of silent contrition, if I can use that phrase, not really silent, but that act of contrition, it allowed everything that happens in terms of the hatch to happen, basically. You know what I mean? Like, with them setting up the schedule, the rotation of who presses the button, and basically just allowing the button to be pressed. Jack basically, as the de facto leader, by pressing that button, he basically said it's okay for everyone to press the button.
Yeah.
Which is weird, considering he doesn't believe it does anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, just wanted to bring that old topic up because it just dawned on me. Remember that scene when Echo was having a little drug deal with I don't know what those people were supposed to be, but he was having a drug deal with the people who wanted to get the cocaine out of Nigeria.
Heroin, yeah.
Heroin, sorry. And there's that little boy who he lets live.
Right.
Yeah, that's Henry.
What?
I just thought I'd say something crazy.
Okay.
But I was thinking that. I don't think we will, but I thought it'd be interesting if we saw that boy again or something. If he's on the island or something, or something crazy. Just because of the fact that he let him live.
Right.
I could see him coming back somehow.
According to the transcript, those were Moroccans.
Oh, Moroccans. Well.
Yeah. So, do with that what you will. But I wanted to say about that scene. Did he kill them because he said because he said that thing about you have no soul? Like, is that why he killed them, or was he gonna do it anyway?
I think it was that. I think it was the soul line.
Okay. Because I got the sense that set him off, but then I'm like, was he just going to do that no matter what? And, the fact that he killed them, he still got the heroin.
Yeah, I think it's what he said. Basically, I want to think that because of the way the scene plays out, Echo he's in the dominant position pretty much the whole time. And he's like, I'll do it for 50. You need a favor from me. Buddy, I know what you're trying to do here. And hey, it's going to be 50 or you can leave. And then the Moroccan is like, it's true what they say about you. And Echo says, and what is that? And he goes, you have no soul. And I think the fact that not only did he say you have no soul, but the fact that people say that about him, I think is why he did it. And sort of the show that he is merciless. I'm pissed off that I'm merciless, but I'm going to show that by being merciless.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. How dare you imply that I have no soul? Now I'm going to prove it by killing you.
And I think that's why he let the boy go. That's what he says. He goes, go tell your friends that I'll let you live. Mr. Echo let you live. So it's one of those things where I think it was sort of like a sign that he isn't as merciless as he claims to be, but also sort of like, it's kind of scary to be the only one left alive after killing like that, And it's almost like a warning to other people, too.
Exactly.
So it's like, hey, go tell them I'm not that bad, but also tell them that, I'm pretty evil.
Right.
And I left you alive so you could tell them that.
Right. Oh, I guess he got the heroin because it was there. Okay. Wow. I'm silly.
Yeah, no, it was there.
I was like, well, he killed him. Why did he still get the heroin? But yeah, it was just sitting there, so he just took it, I guess, and he still had to deal with. It's interesting that there's no market for heroin in Nigeria. I thought that was an interesting little thing. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was interesting in the episode.
Yeah, okay. I'm a little interested how the Moroccans got it into Nigeria and why they got it into Nigeria. But I guess I'm not that interested. I don't really care. But the fact that they took it to a place that had no market.
Yeah. It's weird. I didn't think about that.
Things that make you go,
Maybe. Wow, I have no idea.
Can I point out something funny?
Whoops, we got some heroin. Yeah, I can't imagine how that would happen. Yes, please.
At 12 minutes, 19 seconds in the episode, 23rd Psalm, this is when Claire is berating Charlie. One of the many times.
Again.
And it's one of those things I find funny. Maybe people find it funny, but she spins around defiantly after she tells him off and almost runs into the table that's behind her. And it's a very clumsy motion, but I guess they just kept that anyway. But it's funny to watch. If you're looking for it, you can laugh because she's just got off her high horse, blah blah blah, Charlie, my baby, and then she like spins around, but there's this like table behind her, and she has to like jump to the right just to not fall over it. So it's kind of funny to watch. Anyway, 12 minutes, 19 seconds. If you want a little laugh at Claire.
Yeah, I'll give that a look.
So let's talk about. We got 3 big things to talk about, at least on my page. Echo and Smokey.
Yes, please. Echo and Smokey, discuss.
That's it. I just wanted to say that. We're done.
All right.
Next topic. So, Echo first sees Smokey. He's making Charlie. Charlie is really obnoxious, man. I think part of the reason he's so obnoxious right now is that he needs his heroin fix because he is just yapping like a little chihuahua the entire episode.
Yeah, he is.
But so he's making Charlie show him where the plane is, because presumably he's trying to find Yimmy most of all, trying to see if his brother's body is there or what's left of the plane. So, I forget exactly what happens. I think, Charlie is saying, like, he's not going to go any further or something like that, and Echo sort of hears a noise, and he spots Smokey sort of wisping through the jungle, and it catches his attention. Now, if you watch closely, I think it cuts to commercial after that, then it comes back, and there's another scene, somebody else, and it comes back to them. He's sort of in deep in thought as they're continue to walk towards the plane, and Charlie's yapping, and then very soon he tells Charlie to get up in the tree to go see if he can get his bearings because Charlie claims he's lost. Get up in the tree, maybe he can spot the plane. And I was trying to think why he would, another reason why someone wants someone else to go in a tree. But I was like, well, why does Echo want him to climb this tree? Is there any reason other than, the fact that he wants Charlie to help to find this plane? And I think, if you notice, obviously it's pretty simple. Right after Charlie gets up in the tree, Smokey comes.
Yeah.
And I think... I don't know the specific reason why, but I think Echo wanted Charlie to get up in the tree so that either Smokey wouldn't see Charlie and try to attack him potentially, or because he didn't want to be around Charlie, maybe because Charlie's bad, and he had a sense that Smokey might be attracted to him since he's good or something. Nothing. Obviously those words don't probably go in his head, but maybe. Subconsciously he's thinking that, that maybe if Charlie's not around, I can get another, maybe this thing will come closer to me or something like that. Because that's what happens. Charlie sort of gets out of the picture and here comes Smokey. So I just wanted to bring that up, that might be the reason why Smokey has that encounter with Echo is that because Charlie wasn't around.
Oh, okay.
He was up in the tree, And possibly because Echo might have thought that, if Charlie would have run, if Smokey came close, then Smokey might have chased him or something too. So
right.
Anyway, obviously we talked a lot about that before when we saw this episode, I guess off podcast. But as many people probably know, when Smokey encounters Echo, or vice versa, or both, when the camera passes through Smokey, as it's staring down Echo, we see flashes of Echo's past in the black smoke. So presumably Smokey is reading Echo's mind. Maybe scanning him to see if he's a good person.
Yeah.
I guess that's the pretty much the default answer there, is that's what it was doing. Or maybe gathering information so that, it could use it later when it, when, the island makes Echo dream about Yumi and all that stuff and during question mark. So what did you think about all that stuff? I've been talking for a while.
I don't know. I did want to mention that I watched the commentary track for this episode on the DVD, and they were talking about this scene, and they mentioned that they were talking about the guy who sort of was in charge of doing the effect of the smoke monster. And they said, this is the first time we get a real good look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that they went to this guy and they told him everything about the smoke monster. What it is, what it does, why it's there.
Oh, wow.
Everything. What did you say?
I said, oh, wow.
Yeah. So this guy, knew everything about it. And using that information, he presented, what's in the episode. So, based on hearing that, I think that if you want to understand the smoke monster, that this is a really good episode to sort of do that, because the person who created this effect knew everything about the smoke monster there is to know. Okay, so I think it's very relevant that these flashes appear in it. Definitely,
mm-hmm.
I think possibly it's relevant that Echo wasn't afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's. I feel like somehow it if you're afraid of it, it attacks you. And so I don't know. I thought that was interesting. The other thing they mentioned is that some of the images that you see is stuff that we haven't seen yet, and they sort of hinted that it's stuff that will come up in flashbacks in the future.
Okay.
So there's sort of more to come. Like, some of those images won't make sense to you. Even after this episode and the next one, you won't have seen, those things. So, but as far as a theory, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I get this. I mean, obviously, it's reading him somehow. It's getting this information from him. I mean, it's got specific things from his life. So,
mm-hmm.
so I guess it has this ability to sort of see inside you and see your memories. And what is it doing with those? And how does it decide? What it's going to do based on those readings? I don't really know. But I guess, like you said, the obvious answer is that it's sort of deciding if you're good or not, and I guess it deems Echo worthy. But I feel like the fear comes into play somehow also.
Yeah.
Although if you're really bad and not afraid, is that good enough? I don't know. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I felt like it wasn't necessarily that Echo wasn't afraid of it so much as, if I can say a very similar thing, is that he didn't have anything to be afraid of. Like, he maybe got a sense that this thing wasn't going to hurt him, so he just stood his ground on that, I'm trying... Does that make any sense?
Sort of.
Like, I'm trying to say that if you were a bad person, if you were, maybe Kate, and you just, for whatever reason, weren't afraid of it, that's not good enough. That it's like, Echo sort of felt like he didn't have anything to be scared of from this encounter, so that's why he wasn't scared. I think that's saying something different than the other thing.
I just stated that he wasn't afraid of it. You're saying he was not afraid of it for this reason.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So I don't think it's... I mean, it is saying something different. It's sort of adding... It's giving a reason.
Well, I mean, I feel like the difference is that he wasn't not afraid of it because of what it looked like or anything like that. Because and the fact that it was blowing up trees is just that internally he wasn't scared because he didn't feel like maybe he felt like it. Maybe I don't know. I felt like he also had, like, when he first saw it, Like he got some sort of sense of what it was about, and that's why he sort of set up Charlie going in the tree to get a little bit more of that. So maybe when he got the sense of it the first time he saw it, he sort of maybe had some connection to it, and he sort of knew what it was about or whatever. I don't really know. I'm just rambling, I guess. Whatever. I don't remember.
Okay.
Talk about running out of steam.
Yeah, no, I know. I kind of felt the same way. Yeah, it's. I hope we see it again. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think. Do we see it again this season?
I don't know.
I mean, besides, Oh, you know what? Greg Nation said it was after this episode. I guess he's saying, because we obviously see the smoke monster in this episode. And so, I guess after this, we don't see it in its smoke form. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm up to Lockdown right now, and I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I mean, is it Dave? I mean, what else could it be?
Yeah, I mean, it's according to him, it's something after this. I guess it could be Dave.
Maybe Rousseau.
Oh, God.
When Rousseau finds Henry, maybe that's why she didn't care, because it was smoky.
Because it was smoky? Well, what if Henry's smoky?
Oh, God. If Henry's smoky, I'm changing the channel.
Oh, he should have flown out of the thing, I guess. Well, your favorite theory is Vincent, right? So
yeah, but that's season 1 now. Are they?
Well, he's in season 2.
I know, but are they saying that Smokey being something else started after this episode?
They're not saying it started. They're just saying
it happened.
It occurs. Okay. Yeah, they didn't necessarily say this is the first time.
Okay, but then I'm still sticking to my Vincent is most times, if not all the time, Smokey.
I can't wait to find out. Although, like I said, I mean, they cut out him being on the plane. Boat in the finale of season 2. So, I mean, if they were going to have him on the boat, the idea that he's Smokey is sort of ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, to me, that almost does it in. Even though they took that out, just the fact that they even considered it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the fact that they took it out, maybe somebody was like, hey, wait, we can't do this. Remember, he's Smokey.
So how could they forget that? I mean, that's obviously David and Carlton writing that episode. Like, I can't imagine them forgetting, oh, yeah, Smokey is Vincent.
He forgets to put his pants on sometimes. So.
All right, you got a point there.
So I wanted to talk about Mike in this computer situation because I came up with a fairly interesting theory, I think.
Oh, I can't
about
wait.
What was going on there. Okay, so just to remind everybody, in the last episode, I believe, Mike had duty watch, pressing the button, and it was the last episode, right?
Hatch duty watch. Yeah.
And he gets a message, presumably from Walt.
Right.
This is right after we see the footage, the spliced edit from the orientation film that says, "Don't use it for communication."
Right.
You may be. It says. I think it says like you may be tempted to use it for communication.
Yeah.
Which
I think it's interesting also that it says communication with the outside world. I guess that includes other places on the island, but it makes it seem like he means communication with places off the island.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it could be both or neither, or either. All three. I guess not neither.
I think you covered everything with that.
Yeah, I guess not neither though. So I forgot.
Yeah, it'd be weird if it was neither.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would communicate with if it's not on the island and it's not off the island.
Can I just say that he has a farm in the video?
Who has a farm?
The Marvin Candle.
Oh. What does that mean?
He's got a farm.
Oh. Okay.
A fake arm.
Shouldn't it be a firm?
Oh, you're right. I made it too normal. It's it's a FRM.
You have to take out the vowel because it's
the
only vowel. And
I think
firm.
I think when it starts with a vowel, when it's a word like that, it's like pig Latin. You got to leave the vowel there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, farm, that'll work. Yeah, I don't think he had a farm in the Pearl thing either.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And it's weird because the Pearl thing, we'll talk about that
Well,
later.
yeah, please. So anyway, in this episode, Mike gets back in the computer, and he's presumably talking to Walt. Now, just answer this quickly. Do you think he's talking to Walt?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay, let me tell you why you're wrong.
Okay.
Okay, so basically...
Now, before you do that, let me just say, I just said that. I'm easily swayed either way.
Okay.
I'm probably like 55% yes, 45% no.
Let me tell you what I think is going on here, okay?
Okay.
Oh, wait. I'm trying to find part of my evidence here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So, one of the big
Exhibit
reasons
A.
I think he's not talking to Walt is because some of the language that the person talking to Michael was using, I don't think a kid would use, specifically Walt.
Okay.
So the first thing he says is "Dad," and then Michael types, "Are you okay?" And the next thing they say is "Yes, are you alone?"
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea why Walt would say, "Are you alone?" Why would Walt ask if he's alone? To me, I can't come up with any plausible reason why he would say that. So that's check off number one, that it's not Walt.
Yeah, I thought of the same thing. I'm gonna flip to no now.
Okay. Okay, I'll continue with my argument here. Michael types yes, and then monitor says can't talk for long. They're coming back soon. To me, that's classic, like pretending to be somebody else.
Oh yeah.
Oh God. And then Michael says, "Where are you?" And then the monitor says, "You need to come." And then it changes quickly. You don't finish you don't see what it says, because the rest of what it says, because the shot changes because Jack suddenly enters.
Yeah.
Now, here's the next part. Michael,
we do see the rest, though, in 3 minutes. We get to see what he says.
Yeah, well, basically it says, "You need to come get me," and then he tells them what to look for. And
where to go, and yeah, exactly.
Which is, I guess, is the other thing that's on my list. I don't think Walt would know all that information, especially now that we know they led Michael to the FAMP.
Right.
So why...
Yeah, there's no way it was Walt. What am I saying? I just went from 55-45 to 99.
Now, Michael did get to see Walt at the FAMP, but I don't think Walt was staying at the FAMP the whole time.
No way. No, Walt was staying at the other's home. I don't think he was staying at that FAMP.
Exactly. So why Walt would lead him to a place that I don't think he ever saw before they brought him to see Michael when he got there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it's remote viewing.
No, yeah, well.
I know.
Now here's the other part. Jack is talking to Michael, and it's very tense because Michael doesn't want Jack to see what's on the screen. And
right.
When Jack comes over to look at the screen, nothing's on there.
Yeah.
Now, how did that happen?
I don't know.
Michael,
it's like a riddle.
We can safely assume that Michael didn't do anything because he never touched the keyboard after Jack came in. I think the person who he was talking to, most likely Henry maybe, but whoever he was talking to had the ability to erase what was on the screen. Mm-hmm. Now, how did the person know when to do it? Would be your next question.
Right.
I think that who's ever talking to Michael is in the Pearl Hatch.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
And they're using the cameras in the Pearl Hatch to look at the computer station in the Swan Hatch, and they're using that computer that's in the Pearl Hatch to talk to Michael.
Okay. When it all makes sense.
When the person asked, "Are you alone?" they knew he was alone because they have a camera on him.
Right.
This camera thing being in the Pearl also explains why the first message to Michael came on right when Michael was in there, and when the second message this time comes on, Michael sits down, starts typing, nothing happens, and then he gets the first message. It's because they can see when he's in there.
Right.
Because that's a big... I mean, even if it was Walt, how would Walt know when to talk to Michael? You know,
Remote viewing.
If you say that one more time. God, now you're saying it all the time. I used to be the one. Anyway, I think that theory is pretty damn solid, because you have to explain how whoever is talking to Michael knows when he's there, because it only pops up right when Michael's ready to talk to him.
Right. Now, I could buy that, like, the other's home can tap into the cameras, and so maybe they're doing it from there. But
I agree with you before you finish your sentence.
So I don't think it has to be at the Pearl, but I think they definitely have to be watching.
I don't think the others can tap into the video feed because of the nature of that video. If it was like a digital feed, maybe. I don't think that the camera the wires that connect the monitors to the cameras, I don't think those go to where the others are staying, and I don't think there's any way for them to patch into it. What I was agreeing with you, because what I thought you was going to say was that the others can patch into that computer from where they are, from the others' home. They can patch into the Swan computer. I'll buy that. I don't buy they can patch into the cameras. Because of how because that's closed circuit type stuff, and I just don't think they have the the ability. Like you basically would need wires to run wires from the patch those wires into the feed in the Pearl and run those all the way to where the others are going.
I think they can pull that off, as long as it's not like crazy far away. I think it.
But see, that's the thing. I think it is crazy far away. I think it's a couple miles away at least.
Oh, that's not. By crazy far away, I mean like
where do you
hundreds of miles.
But I mean, I know they pulled out fanciful stuff before, but do you really think that they would just have a couple miles of video cable? I mean, that's ridiculous. I think.
Sure, I think they could get that, no problem. Definitely.
Why?
Definitely.
Why?
Why do I think that? I mean, because they've been able to get other stuff, like the plane mobile.
That's an anomaly. That's definitely an anomaly. The plane mobile, I think I think the plane mobile is. I think getting a couple miles of video cable, and being able to, and being willing to lay that in the ground, which is what you'd have to do. Otherwise, it's pretty obvious where the others are. That's a really extensive thing to do.
I also think they know how to get off the island, and if they do that, they have access to video cable.
But why not just go to the Pearl to do this? Why do when basically so far they've only used that video feed to know when to talk to Michael. Presumably they weren't doing that to Desmond. So I don't know why they would go to the trouble of laying a couple miles of video cable when they can just go to the Pearl where it's already set up.
Well, the Pearl isn't necessarily like right by where their home is.
Well, no, I agree. I don't think, like I said, I think it's a mile at least.
So they might want to monitor the station, all the time, and not have to trek out there every time they want to look in.
So you think they requested a couple miles of cable, which would be a lot of money, but maybe they have unlimited funds, but a lot of money, time, and effort when they could just have somebody go periodically to the station. I don't know. I guess there's no way to really know which one. We're on different sides of the fence on that one. But anyway, I think it's pretty.
Yeah, good. I mean, I don't think it's. The idea that they can't get a couple miles of cable. I mean, I don't think cable's a problem. I mean, and I also think. I mean, couldn't it have been run when it was originally built?
Well, it depends on where the other's home is. If they're in like some Dharma station, then maybe. Like if they're in the primary Dharma station or the headquarters or something, then maybe.
Yeah, like there was a camera in the Pearl.
There was a camera in the Pearl, yeah, but I wouldn't think that all the cameras in the Pearl would be running to where that camera is going, but it could be,
Well, not necessarily, but it's just, there's a camera, there's a feed running from the Pearl to somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's not outlandish that something else might be also running.
Yeah. And hey, they fucking have a pneumatic tube going through the middle of that island, so
yeah.
None of the others did that, but still.
I mean, I don't necessarily think it has to be that way. I'm just saying, like, I think it's possible.
Sure, why not? Why not?
Just because, like, I just can't see them, like, going out to the Pearl. It's like, okay, we took Walt, and Michael's going to be back there, so we'll go to the Pearl and wait till we see him and then talk to him. I mean, I guess they could do that.
I mean, that seems really, really logical to me.
Yeah, I know. It didn't sound so bad when I said it out loud.
I mean, they're like, okay, we need to set Michael up. Okay, well, you go to the Pearl. We can monitor him. You know, you just go wait there until you find, you know, and that seems pretty logical.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm going to talk about this absurd plan. It's going to sound so silly. And then
it's going to sound so silly when I say it, and then you say it, and then it makes sense.
I mean, I think they would like to monitor it all the time, so you know, but I could see it going either way. And plus, like, since all we know about, I mean, they did make a point of showing the camera like inside the Pearl, and it sort of planted that seed that the Pearl isn't the only place to watch. Like, somebody's watching the Pearl too, from somewhere else. So I think that seed's been planted. So there's at least that, but
So we basically have, you know, I think more likely than not, he was not talking to Walt.
Yeah, you know, there's no way. I mean, if he was talking to Walt, shouldn't be talking like this.
Yeah, he shouldn't be talking like that. And here's the other thing that we learned in the hunting party, when I just quickly say it because it ties into this theory, that they know that I think the others know that they're in the hatch at this point. And just for evidence sake, I don't know why you said oh yeah, but just for evidence sake, is because Zeke is giving that speech saying, you know, this is our island, blah blah blah. You know, you don't walk into a man's house, go in his kitchen, and then he says, "Open doors you have no business opening," and he looks at Locke.
Right.
You know, so I think that's a clear reference to the fact they got into the hatch. So they know that they're in the hatch. So you know they blah blah blah. Anyway. I'm ready to go to the next thing.
Yeah, I have something on this episode.
Well, yeah, I got another thing on this episode, but go ahead.
Yeah, but, well, God, yeah, I feel like this is way off topic. But,
is it about 6 degrees?
No.
Oh, it's a good show.
At the end, when that whole scene plays out with the plane and Echo and his brother.
Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
We'll keep explaining for those people who can't read our minds.
Okay. So at the end, Echo convinces Yemi to make them priests so they can smuggle the drugs out of the country by threatening to burn the church down, which I think is sort of ridiculous. But
what's that? That's like, what's that other thing? Like, you better do this or I'll kill you. Remember there was something else like that. Sorry. Maybe that's you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I have no idea.
There's like it's one of those things where, oh man, I'm talking about something that's totally not. I'll explain later. It's not a Lost thing.
Oh God.
You'll know what I mean once I explain it, but it's not Lost, so I won't bore the audience.
Okay. I just loved how vague that was. Yeah, they're like, you better do something or I'll kill you.
Yeah, don't you know? Have you ever heard that before in a movie?
I think I have. Okay. It's not even about Lost, huh?
No, it's I'll tell you.
All right. So, I mean, that just sort of bothered me because it just didn't seem like something he'd say to his brother. But anyway, so he convinces Yumi of that, and then so at the end, we're seeing them, Echo and his crew dressed up as priests and, preparing to smuggle the drugs inside the statues, right? And so everything's all well and good. And then all of a sudden a van drives up, and, Yemi hops out and he says, I came to stop you. Don't get on that plane. You saved my life once, and now I'm here to save yours, which, by the way, is another line that Desmond says in the season 2 finale to Locke.
Nice.
And then Echo says, "Save my life," and Yemi says, "Look, if you get on that plane, if you do this, do what? Are you a prophet now?" And Yemi says, "Please, Echo, let me take your confession. Anything I can do, I will do, but please don't go."
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to know what's going on here. Like, what happened?
Yeah, there's two possible things going on here.
It's interesting that this plane ends up crashing on the island.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's in this plane's future.
Yeah.
So, did he know that? Did he sort of like get a vision or something of that was going to happen? I mean, why all of a sudden, you can't get on that plane? Like, it seemed really it just seemed really weird to me.
I think there's two possible things going on here. One being the more interesting thing is that Yimi did have some sort of vision, and really the big reason that we want to think he has a vision is because Echo says, "What are you, a prophet now?" And so maybe we're thinking, Yimi has some vision that the plane's going to crash, and then of course he says, "Let me take your confession," which of course is something you would say if you think someone's going to die.
Right.
Now, the other thing, less interesting and sort of more real world, is that he just doesn't want Echo to get in trouble. He knows that the police are coming, or the military is coming, and he thinks that Echo might die because of that, because, they're going to be coming with guns, obviously, and they came shooting up,
Right.
So it's either don't get on this plane because... because I've got this sense for whatever reason that it's going to crash and you're going to die on this island, or don't get on this plane because I've called the military, and they're going to come. You might get killed because of that, or at the very least put in jail and never see you again. So it's hard to say which one it is. I don't see any real evidence that he is a prophet or would have any sort of premonition. So I'm probably really on the fence on this. I want to lean on the side that he did have a vision, but there's no real reason why he would. I mean, I don't think Yimi is Nigerian for prophet. So that was supposed to be a joke.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, we'll laugh later.
I'll edit in a laugh.
Oh, cool, nice. So that's what I have to say about that. I thought the exact same thing. Did he get a sense of the future somehow? Did he know the plane was going to crash? Now, the next thing is, why did the plane crash? In Locke's dream, if I remember correctly, it was sort of on fire as it was coming down. Excuse me. But I believe when they found the plane, the many times we've seen the plane in the present, it didn't look like it had any fire damage or was ever on fire, of course, until Echo blew it up or burned it. So I don't really think it came down because it caught on fire. I know we saw that in Locke's dream, but I don't really think this would happen based on the evidence of what we've seen from the plane. If it did, I thought the other reason it could have gone down is because it was getting shot up by rifles. So it could have put some holes in some vulnerable places, and so, but obviously they were in the air for a very long time to make it near Australia.
Yeah, that's quite a plane ride there, especially for a tiny plane.
And the idea that plane had enough gas to get that far, I don't really buy that. The same reason, that boat that the others are using, can't be, have too long of a range.
Right.
I guess the other reason could it be. Was the plane drawn to the island somehow? Was there another incident or some, I guess how was this 4 years ago? Is that what we're supposed to believe? How long ago was this plane? It was actually, how long did Locke, because Locke was the one who surmised with the clothing.
Oh yeah, he gave a date.
It was less than 5 years, I believe.
Let me look it up real quick here.
And do you remember what episode that was?
Yeah, it was Deus Ex Machina.
Oh, it sure was. You always remember that stuff.
Sorry. I know.
But you never remember my birthday.
Oh.
That wasn't
Let's
funny.
see here. No, it was a good one. Let's see.
No, my point was that's not funny. That you don't remember my birthday.
Oh, good point.
Yeah. I mean, not that you really don't, but if you didn't, it'd be sad and it's not funny. Don't laugh.
Okay, so
Hopefully I
he
made my point.
says, sorry, I was not listening.
No problem. I didn't say anything.
He says, let's see, so they find the body. Boone says he's a priest. How long do you think he's been dead? Locke says, normally clothing would completely... I hate
Why do you
Locke.
know this, Locke?
I know.
You fucking asshole.
Well...
Well, when I went to clothing degradation school, the first thing we learned is that clothing normally completely disintegrates, and it's like he's speaking with such authority on these wildly different topics, and it's like, is he just yapping? Is it real? Are we supposed to take it for face value that this is fact, or is he just like? Because there's people out there like that who just make stuff up. You know,
yeah, I know.
Just to seem like they have the right answer. Oh, wow, this is obviously clear cut, blah, 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 you know.
Yeah.
But I guess I don't think he's doing that, but I
don't either.
I can't
but
imagine why
mean.
why he can just say that.
It's very silly. So, to finish the line, normally clothing would completely decompose within 2 years, but this is high-quality polyester. Could be 2 years, could be 10. So that was his line on that.
Is there any other way from Echo's BS that we can figure out how long ago this was?
Okay, that's another question.
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, how long was he in Australia? Do you remember offhand?
Ooh.
Yeah.
No, I don't. Although they might have said it, but I don't remember.
Well, we'll come back to that when we get to the rest of his backstory. We'll try to remember. I just wondered how long it was there, because maybe the plane had a couple detours. I don't know. Maybe it went to somewhere and refueled, and went to somewhere and refueled, and then, you know, who
Took
knows?
a long hopping trip to the island.
Yeah, I don't. And the question is, you know, they were trying to get it out of the country. Now, Nigeria is on the east coast of Africa, right? The north.
Is it? I thought it was more sort of in the middle.
I flunked African country locations.
All right, now I'm looking. Let's see here. Oh boy. Well, you know, it'd help if you label your countries, guys. Well, yeah, it's
I thought it was at the top right corner.
It's top right corner.
Well, maybe I just thought that's where it was.
It's pretty much, it's pretty much on the west. It's on the west coast. You know, it sort of curves out and comes inward. Well, on the underside of the inward curve, that's sort of where it is.
Okay, you're not making any sense to me.
You know, it's sort of shaped like, oh God, I don't know. What is that? I don't know. Maybe you should see yourself.
I'm looking at a map. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's the little curve that Africa has. Basically, the place where Africa and South America used to be connected.
Okay. Good one.
It's not a joke.
No, I know. Just good one for mentioning that.
Oh, yeah.
Not good, like, humor. Because
Pangea.
Yeah, good old Pangea.
Pangea, don't forget, people.
Days.
Yeah, it was a few days ago. Okay, so Nigeria is definitely on the western side.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so
you were right. I mean, yeah, you were right.
I thought it was on the eastern side.
Oh, sorry. Did you say
I
east?
sort of thought it was where Egypt is, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And Sudan.
I thought it was like in the middle. So anyway.
What an awesome podcast.
Where did you think did you think Nigeria
Hey guys, where did you think Nigeria was? Email us at lostlowdown@gmail.com. Because apparently it's such an interesting topic of discussion.
Yeah. Please.
Next time on Lost Lowdown, where do you think Congo is? God. Oh God, who can spot turkey? Okay, my point being,
and don't miss the riveting next episode. Where is Uzbekistan?
Oh man, we're turning into where in the world is crazy
we
countries.
Oh God.
The plane flew from Nigeria to Congo to oh God. To Saudi Arabia, to Turkey, and back. Well, it landed in Australia and took a wrong turn in Tasmania. And it went down under and fell on a bloody island. Okay.
Passed over Fiji.
Oh God, man. We should get those guys on here to sing Where in the World is Echo's Brothers Beechcraft.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect number of syllables.
Yeah, I tried. Okay,
it wasn't really Echo's Brothers, but that'll work anyway.
It wasn't what? Oh, well, he was on the plane.
He was on it, but it wasn't his, but it's good enough.
Yeah. So,
anyway.
Nigeria, back to my point.
Yeah, right, your point.
I was trying to see why they would end up east of Africa if they were trying to get these drugs out of Africa.
Did they say where they were going to go?
It didn't say. I mean, the fact that they headed east makes a little bit of sense since they're on the west coast, so there's a lot of countries east. I thought if they were on the east coast, it wouldn't make sense for them to head east, because there's nothing there but water. And I guess if you fly long enough, you'll get to India. But
yeah.
Anyway, I guess I don't have a lot to say because I can't come up with why they went that way or how they got that far. I really think that's one of the big things they hopefully will explain is how that plane got there. Presumably, it wasn't an electromagnetic thing that did it. The other reason I wanted to know how long ago it was because I believe on the blast door map, the original incident was in 84. Is that correct? Or 86?
Oh, boy.
It was in the 80s. We can agree on that, right?
It was in the 80s.
So I was trying to figure out if maybe that somehow drew the plane a great distance from where it was near Africa or near the Indian Ocean and drew the plane to the island from the original incident.
That far?
Yeah. It's the original incident.
I mean, that's quite an incident.
Hey, it's the incident.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if it pulled that far, I mean, shouldn't it have pulled, like...
No, it only pulls drug-running planes. Yeah, unless you've got heroin on your plane. Heroin is like the new magnetism.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
They should use that in their marketing campaign.
Black is the new pink, and heroin is the new magnetism.
And 40 is the new 50.
Well,
I mean, the other way around.
30 is definitely the new 20. So, let's move on. Did we make a point? I think we made a point.
Oh, I don't know. I just thought that scene was interesting. Like, it just struck me as interesting, and I felt like he knew. And I was also thinking about the scene from Question Mark when the psychic's daughter comes up to Echo and tells him that his brother, told her he was good or something. Remember
I forgot
that
about
scene? That. And then Yemi appears to Echo on the island too in his dream, and it made me think that he's like that he just knew something. But yeah, it could be just a very, very pragmatic thing where he just he reported it and he just wanted Echo to get away from there so he wouldn't die.
Yeah.
And then
I think if we ever find out why the plane went down, and specifically why it went down on the island, I think we can maybe piece together what he really meant by that.
Yeah, and I think we will. I mean, I've heard Damon make specific reference to the fact that we're supposed to wonder what happened to the plane. So
really?
if he says that, it makes me think he's got a specific sort of story in mind for it. So I think there's a chance maybe we'll find. I think there's supposed to be an Echo flashback this season, so I think there's a decent chance we'll find out maybe this season what's going on with that plane. So that's not based on a spoiler. That's just based on pure speculation. But I think I think it's possible. So hopefully we'll have something to work with soon.
Cool.
Because right now it's completely up in the air how it got there.
So can I just say I always ask permission.
You do. You're so polite.
I'm so polite. That's the English in me. We spent 2 hours talking about 2 episodes.
Oh dear, that's too long.
Oh dear. At this rate, it's gonna be an 8-hour podcast.
Yeah. Oh boy. What will Kurt say?
Oh God, Kurt from the Black Rock is gonna have a field day with that one.
Oh, you did not.
You did not. Let's go to the hunting party and try to. Hunting party.
Yeah, there's nothing to talk about in this one, so we'll be done soon.
Hunting party is a fairly interesting episode, but there's not a lot of interesting stuff. But there is a couple interesting things. Fire and Water is complete waste of time.
Oh yeah, we don't. Let's just skip it.
We could skip it. Someone out there is like, "Oh, don't skip it. That's my favorite episode."
No one's saying that.
No one ever. Okay, so let's go to the hunting party, episode 11. In a flashback, Jack's marriage pays the price when he gets too personally involved with the patient and his family. Sorry, I couldn't read that without laughing. I was trying to hold it together. His marriage pays the price. Okay, that's some personification for you. Mm-hmm. Back on the island, Jack accompanies Locke and Sawyer as they search for Michael. As night falls, they encounter a familiar enemy who reveals himself as one of the others. Back at the camp, Jack approaches Ana Lucia with an interesting proposition.
Oh no,
dude! When it came, when he came to talk to her at the end of this episode, I was like, "Oh my God, here it comes! Here it comes!" One of the best lines ever in Lost. One of the best episode enders ever, which comes to nothing as the season.
It turns into one of the worst after you know what happened.
Yeah. Basically, everyone probably knows we're referring to when Jack turns to Ana Lucia and says, "How long do you think it would take to train an army?"
Yeah.
And it goes, "Lost." And it's just the most kick-ass thing ever. You're just like, yeah, they're going to train an army. They're going to kick some others' ass.
Man. Like, watch out, others. Yeah. Jack is coming for you.
Jack and Ana Lu are the tag team of butt kicking. Like, man, they didn't. That was the worst thing. That was like a Locke move. You know, Locke always tries to do grandiose things that blow up in his face.
Yeah.
And that is like the same thing, man. But let's start at the beginning.
Yeah, and we'll have to talk about as we go over these episodes how the army sort of devolves into nothing. Because like
can you devolve when you start at nothing?
You can sort of see it. Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, there's a point where it sort of builds up and like it gains steam, but then there's a point where it just like collapses.
Yeah, God.
And I think really the ultimate collapse was Ana Lucia getting shot. I mean, at that point, it was
he lost his co-captain.
Yeah, exactly. I guess people just stopped showing up for
practice.
Yeah.
You guys don't have what it takes. You don't show up for practice. You don't give it your all. Oh, go do your math homework.
Oh, God.
There's like high school kids, like, you'd rather go to band practice than army practice? Fine.
Right.
All right. This whole thing...
we really started at the beginning there. The ending.
Yeah. This whole thing with Jack's BS was very interesting. I say that, and I don't mean it.
I know, I was going to say, but very interesting.
But very interesting, I mean... I don't mean interesting in the normal sense. I mean interesting in a very clinical sense.
All right.
Whatever that means. I thought it was interesting that, we basically it's round 2 of Can Jack Perform a Miracle? So in the hunting party, this is obviously Jack's BS. Actually, I forgot, we haven't been going over the episode titles like we usually do in terms of what they mean for the episode.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, what Kate did was pretty obvious.
I don't know what that means. What Kate did, I don't know what those 3 words mean together like that. What's a Kate?
Oh.
No,
I
okay,
wish I would've known
obviously,
the answer.
what Kate did is probably one of the worst titles just because it's so pedestrian.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, if you want to know what Kate did, this is the episode for you.
Yeah.
It's what Kate did. Like, it's just, I don't know, they could have come up with something a little bit more interesting. Like Black Stallion.
Hey,
Or,
take it.
Big Ass Horse Saves the Day. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll take that one
that.
too.
23rd Psalm. I don't know what that is.
He says the 23rd Psalm when after he burns the plane.
Oh.
So that.
The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Although
sweet.
I've heard that he sort of gets it wrong, but that's what it's supposed to be.
Really, he gets it wrong?
Yeah.
Really? You know he is a
That's
priest.
what I've heard.
He is a priest, you know.
Hey.
Is it weird that the 23rd Psalm says the Lord is my shepherd and Jack's last name is Shepherd? Or is that just, you know?
Oh yeah, that's very weird. So what about the hunting party?
The hunting party, obviously... Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's about the group that goes to get Michael, right? I mean,
yeah, they're I don't know what they're hunting. They're hunting Michael.
They're hunting Michael. They want to capture him, and bring him back.
Okay. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like hunting party is a reference to something else. I don't know. Don't you? Maybe?
No. I mean, it's an expression. It's something people say.
Isn't it always reminds me of, and actually there's a movie with the same title about, I guess, the same thing. The Dangerous Game, or was it Dangerous Game of All, or one of the two? The
Most Dangerous Game?
The Most Dangerous Game. There it is. Because there's actually a movie with Gene Hackman, by the way, where basically the plot apparently seems to be, the most dangerous game. So I always thought the hunting party. When I ever heard that, I always thought it had some connection to the most dangerous game, which is when basically this rich guy or something, basically instead of hunting, animals, he basically hunts people.
Right.
So, but I guess that has nothing to do with Lost in terms of this episode. I can't seem to.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. Anyway, Jack's BS. Glad we took the time out for that. This is basically round 2 of Can Jack Perform a Miracle? And the first time, obviously, he performed what everyone wants to call a miracle when he, quote-unquote, fixed Sarah, and which is a term that everyone seems to be using, and every time I hear it, I wonder if it's common enough just to, for me not to really think about it, but everyone usually uses that term, like, he fixed her, I fixed her, you fixed her, like even the Italian daughter in this episode says, you fixed her, and I don't know, is that just a common thing you would say if a doctor, fixed a person? Would you just say, you fixed them? It seems too
non-technical.
Yeah, not necessarily non-technical, but too unemotional, too like. A technician fixes things. A doctor heals people. That's what I guess that's the difference. I'm hoping for there.
Impersonal.
Yeah, it's too impersonal. Like you fixed her. Like there was no emotional attachment. You went and you did your job. You're gone.
Yeah.
Whereas, you healed me, or you saved me, or you gave.
As though it was a car or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's what and then the fact that everyone uses that phrase, I don't know if the writers are trying to make a point or not, or if that's just how they want to phrase it. But
I think it's supposed to lead into the end of the flashback where his wife is like, you always have to fix something, and so I feel like they're sort of
about that. Okay. Yeah,
harping on that.
It's about his fixing thing.
So
so anyway, round one, he obviously won, even though he didn't think that he had fixed her.
Right.
It was apparently a miracle, and she was able to walk again. So now this Italian family, the father who has this tumor near his spine, Jack decides he's going to give it another try. And I couldn't tell from that scene if he's given another try because he actually thinks he has a shot. Like I guess it's because he thinks he has the skills to do it, or if he thinks that. I mean, I guess he doesn't think another miracle is going to happen. He's banking on his skills, right? I mean, he's not that I don't know, spiritual or
crazy.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You say crazy, I say spiritual. To bank on a miracle. I guess he really. I mean, his father doesn't think it's worth it because his father doesn't think it'll happen. But Jack's like, "Oh, I'll do it." So anyway, I thought that was weird. But and then so what's the point of this? That he just wants to fix something, and that was sort of the whole reason that we get this back. Because most backstories lead up to a point that relates to what's going on in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the backstory really leads up to Sarah saying, "You always need to fix something," but it's like, damn, Sarah, like the marriage is broken. Why won't you let him fix it?
I know.
It was weird.
I know, like it's so bad that he wants to fix the marriage.
Yeah. Well, I thought that her point was that, she had his attention when she needed to be fixed, and after she was fixed, she didn't have his attention, and the marriage sort of was falling apart. And he was, obviously working long hours, fixing other people and doing other things, and that was sort of the point of what she meant by that. She basically, you always need to fix things, which means that if I'm not broken, then I'm not going to have your attention.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's what she really meant by that, but...
Like, it didn't get your attention until the marriage was a mess.
Exactly.
Then you needed to fix it.
Exactly. And didn't he say that? Like, it's my fault. I wasn't here for you. I'll fix it. I'll do this. I'll do that.
Yeah.
So, and I really think, I've seen other characters who were almost, like, giving to a fault, how Jack is. But
right.
I think that's one of those really interesting character flaws when, like, you're so positive in this one area that it's a flaw, Right. Like he always wants to be the one to do things and help out, but it means that it's gonna, be bad on the other people in his life because they won't be the ones getting his attention, So I really like that character flaw for him. It's a little better than being a bad girl from the wrong side of the tracks.
Oh,
Kate, I'm looking at you. So what else in this episode?
But she has a heart of gold.
She's got a heart of gold.
And
a black stallion in her pocket.
Mm-hmm.
The arrow hatch is apparently east.
Yeah, did they say that?
Well, because Locke stops for no apparent reason to ask which way Sawyer and the tailies, which way they were coming when they were coming back to the beach where the fuselage section is. Fuselage people are. And Sawyer says it's over this way, which means that they came from the east, which means the arrow hatch must be in the east. And we all know that the tail section people landed in the north, and that's where the others are in the north. So just in terms of getting our bearings straight on where things are, I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should say that the real... I guess the Fatch is north, right? I'm sorry, Famp is north.
Yeah.
I guess we don't really know where the real other's home is.
True.
Which, I don't think it's on the island. That's just me.
I think it has to be somewhere close. Maybe it's not. If it's not on the island, it can't be that far.
I don't think it's that far. I mean, we know from the other orientation film about the Paula Ferry, so there's obviously a ferry that goes from the island to some other landmass that's close, or some sort of, maybe even some sort of artificial station that's on top of the water or under the water, or not necessarily a piece of land, but some sort of station. Anyway, you got anything? I got a couple things, but I don't want to hog the whole thing.
Oh, hey, hog away. I didn't write a lot down for it. I mean, there's the obvious thing I want to talk about, which is the meeting with the others.
Well, we can save that. I'll talk about my little things real quick. I thought it was interesting. Charlie and Hurley are in the Swan Hatch trying to find some tunes to play. And they pull out some stuff, and Charlie says he's never heard of Geronimo Jackson. And he says, that he's sort of an expert on all things musical, and he's never heard Geronimo Jackson. And neither have I. But I thought that might be important for some reason, that if we sort of just assume that he is this musical expert, that the fact that he's never heard of Geronimo Jackson means something.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, actually. What might it mean, though?
I've got nothing.
Yeah, I have no idea what that might mean. There's a band that doesn't exist, and their album's here.
Yeah, or something like that, or the title is Magna Carta, which seems to be something that would be of interest on a show like this. Seems like it'd be meaningful. That was the title of the album. I just searched for Geronimo Jackson, and they don't seem to be a real band that has ever existed. At least all of the references are only Lost related.
Yeah. There's an Easter egg on the season 2 DVD where you get to see the Geronimo Jackson album cover.
Yeah, that's what I just looked at online.
Yeah. So, I feel like there's something there, but I don't really know what that means. Some kind of weird parallel universe thing, or
well, apparently, let's see. Apparently, in the January 9, 2006 official Lost podcast, Damon and Carlton seemed to suggest that the band was real. Quote, they're a band not a lot of people have heard about. They just pressed one very obscure album in the mid to late 70s. And then on May 15th of this year, it says in that podcast, producers claimed that it was indeed a real, very obscure band from the 70s. So I guess that's that. I guess it is a real band. He's never heard of it. Charles never heard of it because they're obscure, and they just have that line in there for whatever reason. And we shouldn't think about it ever again.
Are you sure they're not lying? Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure, by the way. Let's see. Sun and Jin were married 4 years ago. We got that information. Now,
who?
Sun and Jin. Who? Sun and Jin. The Korean couple.
Yeah. That's coming back to me. Yeah. What about him?
Starbud.
Right.
They were married 4 years ago. That's what is insinuated, at least. Because Jin says, Jin wants to go after Michael with the hunting party, and Sun says, no, I don't want you leaving. And then later, Jin says, I don't like being told what to do, and Sun says, well, I didn't like it either, and I had to deal with the last 4 years.
Yeah, so fuck up, bitch.
Shut the fuck up, Jin. Oh, that puts you in your place. I thought that was a very interesting, very tender, very... What's the word? You could tell Jin's character has changed with that scene. The fact that he was just sort of open about his feelings, and that, first of all, he took her feelings into account when he decided not to go. And then in the next scene, when he basically says... he wasn't pissed that she told him what to do. He was just like, I don't like that. And that was very not season 1 Jin. Season 1 Jin would have slapped her or something.
Right.
And so I think you can see their relationship changing and everything like that, which I think is interesting. And I don't know about you, but I hope for a lot more Sun and Jin in season 3. I hope
I think we all do.
all Sun and Jin all the time.
My inside sources say there will be a Sun and Jin episode in season 3.
I hope they have a baby who's a little ballerina. Made of glass.
Oh,
that'd be
God.
weird. So let's talk about the infamous scene, probably one of the biggest scenes all season.
I assume you're referring to...
Oh, there's so many things I could say right now.
Yeah, I know.
The meeting with quote unquote Zeke, or should I say Tom, and our Losties.
Yes.
I just want to say it was cool. Let's move on.
All right. Yeah, not much to talk about there. I mean,
Yeah.
we certainly didn't learn anything.
No.
There was certainly nothing to address. Yeah, this is and this sort of comes full circle in 3 minutes because we see the behind the scenes action here.
And we didn't have to buy the DVD.
With Alex and Kate's back there and Michael was back there too. It was really weird. Don't worry about Michael. He's not going to find us. He's right there.
Yeah, that was a blatant lie.
Yeah.
Quote unquote Mr. Friendly, which is I guess what he's credited as in here.
Yeah, that's what they called him in the script, I guess, before they named him.
Yeah, his name is Tom, as we learn, or Zeke, as Sawyer likes to call him.
Right.
Yeah, it's a blatant lie. He said, "Oh, don't worry about him. He'll never find us." And I remember originally getting this sense Michael's just going to be wandering blind out in the woods on the jungle for a while, and of course it was just a lie. He's right 20, 50 feet away, maybe. What was interesting when the scene first starts is, Locke and Jack are sort of deciding if they should keep going. And Jack says, you know what happens if we just turn around and go back? We'll never see him again, and that's going to be on us, on you and me. And then Zeke says, you're exactly right, Jack. But if I were you, I'd listen to Mr. Locke, which means I'd turn around. So he's basically saying, you're right, Jack. If you guys turn around, you'll never see Michael again. Isn't that a weird thing to say?
Yeah, that is a weird thing to say.
Or
it seems to make sense.
Or more specifically, it's going to be on you if you give up. But he's telling him to give up. He says, hey, it's going to be on you if you guys turn around and give up looking for Michael, but I think you should.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he is telling him, to stay away. So
yeah.
He wants him to listen, but it's going to be on them, apparently.
Yeah.
I guess he considers it. Well, I don't know why he can. I don't.
I don't know. It seems like one of those things that sounds good until you think about it.
Yeah. It came off great because it's very dramatic, and they go to commercial right after he says that.
Anytime the protagonists have an argument, and then the bad guy shows up and agrees, you're right, James Bond, but I think you should get caught in my laser trap. It's very it's very poignant or whatever, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense here. And I love that Walt. God darn it. I said darn it. I haven't said that since I was 5. I love that.
Me either. That's a good one.
I know. God darn it. Tarnations. I guess I'm Yosemite Sam too.
Wow.
Tarnations. Locke, that's his name. He's very calm throughout pretty much this whole encounter, where Jack is very on edge, very, nervous-y. And Locke actually asks at least one very important question that doesn't get answered. How do you know our names?
Yeah.
And, of course, where's the scene?
What did you say?
I'm trying to find the scene again.
Oh,
Locke says, how do you know our names? And then Jack says, you took Walt, and sort of cuts off that line of questioning. He doesn't. He basically doesn't give Zeke a chance to answer because he's like, you took Walt. I mean, he already knows he took Walt. Come on now. Anyway, this is a really weird exchange. Okay, because it goes like, Zeke says, just sit down, Jack. Nobody's going to hurt you. I come in peace. And then Locke says, how do you know our names? Jack goes, you took Walt. Zeke's like, Walt's fine. He's a very special boy. Then Jack goes, look, you said you wanted to talk. It's like, he was talking.
Yeah.
He was explaining about Walt. Like, he might have said some more about why he's special if you didn't cut him off and said, look, you said you wanted to talk. I mean, it's really weird. Really weird thing to do, to tell him to talk when he's talking. But I understand.
That's what Jack does.
That's what Jack does. He just wants to be in control. So anyway, Zeke goes on.
He's always got to control something.
You always got to control something, Jack, because you want to fix it. So, hey, they talk about, the fact that... Okay, here's the thing. Zeke gives the whole speech about you guys, this is our island, and you're only living because we let you live here, and, the whole analogy about coming to a man's house that you don't know and taking off your shoes and going through their stuff. But how much of that is really true? Like, they didn't choose to land on the island. That much can be said. And
are you sure? Oh, I'm sorry. You mean...
I'm sorry. I apologize. I wasn't very specific. The Losties did not choose to land on the island.
True.
That much can be said. Oh, man. That'd be weird if I meant the others.
I know. I was like, wow, that's interesting.
It's a bold statement.
You know that.
Yeah. So they didn't choose to land there and to say, you're only living here. And it's like they haven't really been meddling that much with the others, and I'm wondering why. Besides plot wise, besides we need drama, besides we're going towards the middle of the season. Why did all of a sudden they're like, okay, here's a line in the sand that you better not cross? Why build up this big threat at this point in the game when the Losties haven't really posed a threat? They're not like exploring the island incessantly. They're not looking for the others. They're not. I mean, Michael's the only one really looking for Walt. And that's just this episode he leaves. Or last episode, I should say. And so anyway, I was just wondering, it seems like, I understand plot-wise that this is a good point to have the head-to-head, but it just seems weird that they're like, okay, here's a line that's saying you better not cross, and you guys better go back because we're the ones in charge here. And I always went back, we had our big discussion about this when we were talking about two groups of others and all that, and why they would dress up and that whole thing. And I still want to go back to say that that they're making a lot of threats here that I don't think they can necessarily back up. Now, I'll feel obviously proven wrong if we see in Season 3 that there's like a couple hundred others or something like that. But even in this scene when Jack's like, I got you guys figured out, there's more of us than you. And Zeke tells him to light him up. And I think I counted in the last wide shot, I think there's like around 15 flares, 15 torches, which isn't that many people. And of course, we should assume that that's not all of the others. But if we find a whole bunch of others, then I'll say, okay, well, I guess their threat they could back up. But I really think a lot of the threats, at least at this point in the game, seem really empty. The fact that, as we know, they had to use Michael to get, Jack and Kate and Sawyer and all of them. Instead of them coming to take them themselves, they had to make Michael sort of trick them into doing it. So I think I think it's interesting that they're not using the power that they try to flaunt, and maybe they have that power, but they're not using it for a certain reason. I've been talking for a while. You have anything to say about that?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff here. I think... he says, Jack says there's more of us than there are of you. Like, does he mean in general, like total, if you count every person at the
Yeah,
at the main camp?
I think he means the people who landed on the plane. I think he means the Losties.
Okay.
Yeah, and like he says, if you had any real strength, you wouldn't have sent a spy. And I mean, I don't think that's necessarily true because obviously a spy can gather a lot more information than brute force could.
Yeah, people have spies that are strong. That's not.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Jack's on the right track with that, and I think the fact that the torches, that they were ready with the torches, I think they were sort of ready in case they needed to do that. And can I just really quickly mention, I don't know how you can light torches that quickly. I mean, how would you light a torch that, he says light them up, they're lit in a couple seconds, all of them. And the only way you could really do that is if, you have your stick, and at the end of the stick you have something flammable on the end of it, like, some cloth or something doused in gasoline or whatever. But then, of course, you would need a match or a lighter, which, realistically speaking, which I'll try not to do that too much on this show, but realistically speaking, when they're lighting it up, you should be able to see people with their matches and see, because it's dark, people with their lighters lighting these things. And then at the end, when they leave, the torches just instantly go out. I mean, that's, to me, it's bordering supernatural.
Yeah.
Because it's just not realistic. Now, I don't know if it's not realistic because, obviously it's a show, or if it's, like I said, it's bordering supernatural that you can make a torch light up in a couple seconds and then extinguish it just as fast.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is that they want it to be dramatic.
Yeah.
But, and if it was like one thing goes up and, hold on a second, I'm lighting it, and, it would just be very crappy.
Yeah.
But I don't believe Jack...
Hold on, I'm lighting. I can't get this thing to start. Wait, Zeke, wait. I agree.
Hey, Pickett, give me your lighter. This one's broke.
This one's out of fluid. Patchy.
What Jack's saying about them not having real strength and there being... I don't think he's right. Mainly because I feel like Jack's usually wrong about stuff like this.
Yeah.
Usually when he starts talking emotionally and he has this theory about something, it's just wrong.
But I think I agree. But the fact that he was seemingly proven wrong right here, right now, very quickly, makes me think he was on the right track and they just had an ace up their sleeve. They were ready for him in case he said something like that. We won't know until we find out more about what's going on. But even in is it 3 minutes when we see the other side of this? I'll have to watch that again, obviously. But when Zeke and them are tracking Michael, when they sort of kidnap Michael, it's not that many of them. And then very soon after that is when we have this scene in the hunting party. So how 15 to 20 others came out of nowhere just in time, because they didn't they knew the hunting party was tracking Michael, right? I think they said something that they knew, but I just don't buy that they specifically knew in advance so that when they left their wherever the others live, that they took around 20 people with them to go get Michael, Basically, my point is, I feel like they faked the light up thing, the light 'em up thing, maybe one person holding two torches type thing, or it wasn't that many people as it seemed, and it was, because to me it seemed like a parlor trick, he was just ready for it. And if he really had the power, I don't know if he would have done that. And like I said, he seems like Zeke is just, they're bullying the Losties, don't cross this line, and hey, look how many people we got, and he's got the sniper up in the tree who hits Sawyer, and like he's using a lot of tactics that can sort of go either way, but it's making me think they really don't have what it takes to back it up. Anyway.
I disagree. I think the others are stronger, and I bet they have more people than the Lost Camp, or if not more, at least a comparable number.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do think they have more. I would say, if I had to guess, I'd say there are at least 100 of them.
I'm going to go on record and say I think they have less, but maybe as many, but definitely not more. I'm gonna say less, but maybe as many. Around 40 people. I'd go as high as 50. I don't think 100. Partially because of how many we've seen. Even in the FAMP, it wasn't that many people there, and a lot of the people that we've seen seem to be higher up too. Miss Clue and Henry and Zeke. We've seen and Ethan. They're sort of higher up. You know what I mean? Like, I guess what I mean. Do you know what I mean? Before I have to explain it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're seeing a lot of the higher up people, and I feel like if there were a whole bunch of them, we wouldn't see so many of the higher ups. And I feel like if there's a small number of them, that explains why we're seeing so many of the higher ups, because there's not that the levels of hierarchy are smaller in number. But anyway, that's just my random theory about that.
I think the reason we see the higher ups is just because that's who carries out these more important tasks.
Yeah,
and so and I think at the FAMP I don't think that was all the others at all.
No, I don't think it was all of them either.
I think that was just a group of them that's they were there to serve a specific purpose. And I think there's lots of others. I mean, I know they got these kids, and I feel like there's lots of them that just don't go out and do this kind of stuff. So I have a feeling we'll meet a lot more. We'll get a sense. I mean, we'll definitely get a sense here in a new season of how big they are. But I really can't believe they're that small. I don't really know why I can't believe that, but it just seems I don't have a good reason to think that they're not small, but I just think they're not. What can I say?
I also want to say that the fact that Henry seems to be fairly higher up on the food chain, and he is the one doing whatever he came to the hatch to do, I think also lends itself to the idea that there's not that many of them. Why send Henry, who's in charge, at least on a management level? He's over Miss Clue and Zeke, or I should say Tom. He may not be the one, or him, or whatever, but probably isn't. But the fact that he's definitely higher up, and he's the one out there risking his life to do whatever he was trying to do when he was in the hatch. I think also lends itself to the idea that there's just not that many of them out there. The fact that Ethan was had to go be a spy, and he was the one doing the test on Claire. He seems like he's fairly important and valuable, at least in terms of some of the skills he should have. But he's the one who had to go be a spy. I just don't think there's that many of them based on what we've seen. But based on what we've seen, we haven't seen that many. So we'll see. I mean, I can definitely see in season 3 if we go to the others' camp and there's a couple hundred of them and they're all doing all kinds of stuff. But I could also see if there's only maybe 50 of them, and they're I think it largely depends on what obviously how they got there, why they're there, and then what they're doing now.
Right.
I think that's really gonna determine how many people. But let's quickly move on. The other thing.
Yeah, I mean, I had a point. I lost it.
Were you just going to restate your previous point?
No. I think I had a new point.
Okay.
Believe it or not. But I can't seem to remember what I was going to say.
I got a point that I remember.
All right.
I just wanted to also add to the idea that Zeke/Tom is just boasting and has a lot of empty threads, is the fact that he has Kate, who and I guess I'll ask you this: what do you think would have happened? I mean, Jack basically said, no, we're not going to turn around. And what do you think would have happened? This is wild speculation, but what do you think would have happened if they didn't have Kate as their backup plan? I really don't think they would have just killed them all.
The others
The
or
others.
Jack and company?
I don't think the others would have killed Jack and them.
No?
No. I mean, putting aside that it's a TV show and we need those characters, like if you put this in some sort of reality, I just don't really think they would have killed them all. I really think, and the fact that he's like, shut up, I'm going to count to 3, 1, 2, like that's just, I mean, it's classic, dramatic writing, but it's also like, stalling. It's also like, God, I hope you don't call my bluff because I'm not going to kill Kate, and I'm not going to shoot you guys, but I need you guys to turn around. You know what I mean? But that's just a hunch I have. I just the way this was set up just doesn't seem like they had anything to back it up with.
I think they'd shoot her. I mean, they shot Sawyer and they blew up the raft. I don't think they're above that.
Oh, God, that is not the same thing. They shot Sawyer in the arm, not shooting him in the neck and killing him. They did blow up the raft, but come on. I don't think
they're not above violence at the very least.
They're definitely not above violence. Cold-blooded murder, I mean, Goodwin, obviously.
Goodwin did it. Yeah, even killed Scott.
Well, let's get into the next part of this, which is the fact that, obviously they're going to request Kate Sawyer and, who is it? Kate Sawyer, Locke, and Hurley? Oh, Jack, Kate, Sawyer.
Jack, Kate,
Sawyer.
Hurley, and Sawyer.
Yeah. They're going to request them very shortly after this encounter. So
True.
the question is, I guess the big question is, one question is, why didn't they take them now, since they had most of them there? And the other thing is, I really don't think they would have shot Kate, especially if they think at all at this point they're going to need her.
Actually, you know what? Like, they sent Hurley back. They didn't even want him. They have the 3 they wanted right here.
Mm-hmm.
They really.
Yeah.
I've heard that they're gonna explain that, but like it just seems really ridiculous because like a day after, I don't remember how. It's really shortly after this that they're like, go get these people.
It was very, very quickly. And that's the thing. I feel like that's why they want them to turn around at this point. That's why they want to seem big and badder. Then, even if they are as bad as they are, they're still making an effort to seem big and bad. Even if they have it to back up, they're making a very obvious effort.
Oh, the timeline's weird. I wonder what actually happened. Was Michael supposed to be walking across the island for days? Was that the idea?
He left last episode. No, it hasn't been for days because Jack and them went after him right after he left. Like very soon.
No.
After.
I mean after this, like the time between this and when he's at the camp with Miss Clue.
No, I mean they captured him. He is in captivity right now in this episode in the hunting party. He's sitting on the sidelines with Alex.
Yeah, no, I understand, but what I'm saying is how long between this and when he's talking to Miss Clue?
They take him straight away, don't they? You're just
they can't take him straight away.
You're just saying how long does it take to get to where they went?
Sort of.
Well, basically, I would say around the same length it took for the tail section people to get to the beach. I mean, I think he's closer at this point, but he just got to continue to the north side of the island. I would say 2 days at the most. 2 days at the most.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's approximately right. I mean, the reason I ask is because by the time he gets there, the Lost People need to have Henry Cale, and they don't at this point. So it wouldn't make any sense for Miss Clue to ask him about Henry Cale if they don't have him yet.
Yeah.
So it needs to take him at least until episode 14 to get there, at the very least. And really, how do they even know? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm baffled. I don't know why Henry went either. That's what I was going to say earlier. It's a really big question about what he was doing out there that he got in that trap. Was he really headed to the main camp and he was going to try to do something there? He said he was gonna go get Locke, but I don't know about that. But I think it's a big question what he was doing.
Yeah, I agree.
But I also wonder, how this lines up. Like they have this scene, and then 3 days later they arrive at the FAMP, and they're like, okay. Now they've got Henry, so now you go get the people that we just left, and also release this guy. It just seems very bizarre.
Well, I mean, 3 minutes is when when does Michael get to the FAMP?
That's pretty much my question, because I don't know when that's supposed to be. Actually, I think they do give some dates in that episode. Let me have a look here. What episode was that?
I think it's 3 minutes when Michael comes back after talking to Miss Clue that he convinces Jack to help him rescue Walt. I think that's all in the same episode. Oh, no. 2 for the Road is when he comes back. Oh, my mistake. He comes back in 2 for the Road, ready to, right?
What are you talking about?
I'm trying to think, when do they let Michael go back to the hatch? It's 2 for the Road. After he talks to Miss Clue and they say, we need this person, this person, this person, this person, he goes back to the hatch, and that's when he comes running out of the jungle after being gone for so many episodes and us not knowing what happened to him. And he falls, he runs into Jack and Kate, and he, just sort of falls there, and they take him back. And he's like, they got Walt, I need you guys to come with me, basically, right?
Yeah.
And then, because that's when he kills Annalise. When does he kill them?
Yeah, it was in 2 for the Road.
2 for the Road.
At the end.
And then, I don't know, man. We'll have to think about this. I don't want to spend too much time pontificating on
According
podcasts.
to the 3 minutes thing, it was 11 days ago from the time of 3 minutes that the Miss Clue conversation occurred. So I don't know what that means, but anyway,
I don't either. That doesn't make any sense right now.
I know it really doesn't. It doesn't fit at all. But
all right.
Yeah, we can move on, because if it was okay, sorry.
I wanted to mention that when Zeke tells Alex to bring out Kate, we don't see Alex.
Of course not.
Yeah, which is interesting. And
of course, as we know from 3 minutes, Alex doesn't actually bring her out. Somebody else does.
Oh, isn't that awesome? Forgot about that. So let's move on to Fire and Water before something. I don't know. 3 hours, man. Let's go.
Oh, you don't want to talk about the other crazy thing that happened?
There wasn't anything.
Yeah, I know.
Man, we gotta talk about...
What about this great Locke and Claire scene at the end?
Oh, God. Dance, dance, baby, dance. I dance with your baby. Okay, that probably made no sense to everyone, but it was just the fact that they were sort of dancing with the baby. Here, Locke, you hold my baby. What was Locke's thing by calling out Sawyer, telling him, I know your name is James? That was a very weird thing. That makes me think Locke knows something about the others, like that they know his name is James or something. That was too specific to just be run of the mill Locke being stupid. And at the very end, he's like, "See ya, James." That's really, 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 really weird. And then Kate is right there. Does she know his name is James? Oh, she knows about the Sawyer thing. Never mind. That's classic.
Yeah.
That's classic season 1. Excuse me.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, jeez.
She knew about it a long time ago. You wrote this letter.
You wrote this letter, didn't you? So, what do you think of that?
No, I just to mention, that scene is used in the connections feature on the season 2 DVD as a connection between Locke and Sawyer. And the rampant speculation online is that somehow I don't know how, but somehow that indicates that Locke's dad is a real Sawyer.
Oh, I can totally see that now. Oh my God, that makes perfect sense. That I could totally. Do you know why it makes perfect sense? Before I explain it.
No.
Okay. I think it's the idea that during the time that Locke spent with his dad referenced Sawyer, that he used to go by that name, or Locke. I can see a flashback where we understand his connection to Sawyer through his dad. Like, you see what I'm saying? And so now that so he sees a picture, or he sees something with Sawyer written on it with his dad in it, or his dad referenced that whatever that used to be his name, or I don't know. But but there's a connection between Sawyer and his dad that Locke found out. And then now that he finds out Sawyer's real name is James Ford, because he does ask him, he says, well, where'd you get that name from? And then Sawyer says, what makes you think I got it from somewhere?
He actually says, who did you get it from?
I was just about to re-say that. Yeah, he says, who did you get it from? And so, man, if that doesn't mean that's the real Sawyer is Locke's dad, I don't know what that means. That is clear cut, man. That is clear cut.
Yeah, good. Okay, wow, something clear cut.
I know, finally. Besides that, Charlie's annoying. That's the other clear cut thing on this show. Yeah, he says it's an interesting name to choose, is all. Who'd you get it from? Who says I got it from anybody? I mean, if that doesn't... God, man. Ugh, I don't know.
Hey, you sound convinced.
I have never been more convinced that at the very least, Locke has a connection to that name somehow. I think most likely it's because that's his dad, is the real Sawyer. But I can see some flashback where it's one of those times when Locke and his dad are talking about something or fighting about something, and Locke is saying, "Why did you do this to me? You ruined my life."
Oh, God.
And he goes, I ruined a lot of lives.
Yeah.
I used to be Sawyer, the man about town, and I used to woo. I don't know why he got Southern. But, I can totally see a flashback with that. So, I'm putting my money all on that. Because it explains why he would be so curious and why he says, who did you get it from? It's an interesting name. And then to be so specific about it. So that's where my money is. Always bet on
my
black.
money's there too, but I don't feel like it's that clear cut. But I think that's it.
Well, what else could it mean, Sherlock?
I don't even ask me.
I did.
Ask me. I just thought it was a weird scene. It was a scene I never picked up on, and the fact that they used it in the connections feature made me think that it was going to come into play somehow.
Yeah. I think the fact, that scene is very weird, but then at the very end of the, towards the end of the show, he goes, "See ya, James." Like, he makes another, they make another point to reiterate the Sawyer thing.
Right.
Speaking of Sawyer, episode 12, Fire and Water.
Please, Fire Plus.
Fire plus water. Has nothing to do with Sawyer. In flashbacks, Charlie relives his struggles with his brother and the band. Hurley deals with his attraction to Libby, and the connection between Jack and Anna Lucia grows. Oh, the parallels. Charlie, feeling isolated from Claire and the baby because of his crazy behavior, looks to Mr. Echo for guidance, with disastrous results. That's weird.
Okay.
He really feels like Echo told him to steal the baby. I guess.
Yeah.
I did not tell him to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, man. I got so much on this episode. We're going to have to spend like 5 more hours. But not talking about this episode, just talking about other stuff.
I have like one question for this episode.
Why a Charlie BS?
What?
I said, why a Charlie BS?
Yeah, I guess that's the better question.
I got a couple things, but go ahead, man. It's all you.
Yeah, and my question is sort of the obvious thing.
No.
Are Charlie's visions real, and do they mean anything? And now that I think about it, are Charlie's visions real? I don't even know what I mean by that question. So
yeah, I mean, he's definitely having visions.
Yeah, I guess what I mean by that is, are they just from his mind, or is he getting them, you know,
Yeah.
like Echo's dream, you know, where Yumi told him to push the button, you know, is it an island induced dream, or is this just Charlie going crazy, you know, within his own mind? I guess that's what I mean.
Well, what's interesting to me is to answer your question of if it means, what was it? If it means anything or if it's important or something.
Yeah.
The answer to that would come into what is the purpose of baptizing the baby? His dream, you know, they were saying the baby's in danger, the baby's in danger, the baby's in danger. And baptism seems to be the key to, you know, to fixing that.
Right.
Why would that be the case? I guess is where I'd want to focus the attention on that. What would, and that's the thing. Okay, I guess we should go to the end, the last scene. You know, Claire comes up and Charlie told me you were a priest. Yes, he said you told him I did not tell Charlie to do what he did. So, you know, Claire is, God, she's just like the worst, most uninformed mother ever. And she's like, do I need to get my baby baptized? I don't know what that is, or should I do it, or whatever. I don't know. Like, she's so unprepared for motherhood and they seem to be making a point about that, you know.
Yeah.
Not that just her character is not a good mother, but that she's so unprepared, you know. And I know it's hard. I'm not saying being a mother's easy. Believe me, I have 10 children, and they are all mine. I don't know what that means. I'm not a mother. I don't have children. It's late. So anyway, my point is, you know, Claire says, you know, baptism, let's get you in heaven, and then Echo tells another quick biblical story about John the Baptist baptizing Jesus, and I love the interpretation of a dove coming down from the sky, meaning that he was free of sins. That's a very big leap, if you ask me, Jesus. Well, he didn't ask me, but that's a big leap.
No, well, it was John who interpreted it, so.
Yeah, I know. I was making a joke.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to tell. But anyway, that's a big leap.
I was just correcting your joke.
Yeah, correct my joke, grammar man or fact man.
See, if you change this word, you can remove the humor.
Nice. You should do an automated version of that. Automated removal joke. Okay, never mind. Anyway, and then she says, does it mean if something happens to Aaron or something happens to us, we wouldn't be together? You know, he would go to heaven and I wouldn't. And then he says, not if I baptize you both. So they both get baptized.
Right. So the answer is yes.
The answer is yes. And I think it's weird that baptism, I mean, here we go again into religious conversations, but
I know it's Echo forces it upon us.
Baptism alone does not get you into heaven. You know, living a holy Christian life and all that good stuff is really what counts. And the fact that the baby and her are both baptized is not the key to victory. But
I think supposedly, at least in some denominations, it is required. It's not sufficient.
It's definitely required, but it just seems like they're sort of implying that that's all that's needed. But I mean, not that they have time to really explain everything, but I'm just saying it seems to be like, well, if I baptize you both, you'll both get into heaven. Well, that's not exactly true. But I guess I had to turn the tables on you and ask, why baptism? What does that have to do with anything? What's with the other religious things? Are they saying that, you know, Christians are good people? I mean, like, you know, there's this whole good versus bad thing, and, you know, Echo's religious. See, what's interesting about Locke is that he's got faith and he's got a certain sense of spirituality, more on the mysticism side. But Echo's obviously, you know, religious.
Right.
And he's seemingly a good person and religious, which, you know, aren't, you know, usually go hand in hand, but don't have to. And I'm wondering what kind of statement are they making about, I'm not trying to blow anything out of proportion, but I'm just wondering what statement are they making about this whole baptism thing? Like, what what situation would the baby be in danger and baptism is the key? Like, I just don't understand what that means. Like, in terms of what's going on the island.
I agree. I mean, I want to go back to, Claire's original flashback where the psychic said something like, danger surrounds this baby, and, your goodness has to save it or whatever, and it made me think that this is somehow connected to that, and that baptizing it is somehow like further protection or something. But honestly, I think it's just I really don't think it matters that much.
Are we supposed to believe there's some sort of Christian-based evil? Christianity-based evil on this island that can potentially harm the baby?
Yeah, see, I don't buy that, and I think, this is the thing, like, Charlie's visions didn't say to baptize the baby. He took his visions to Echo, and Echo sort of interpreted it that way.
Yeah.
So, and of course he thinks the baby needs to be baptized. I mean, he's Christian, he's going to believe that.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that's what the visions were saying to do. And I don't necessarily think that this is required in terms of the island and protecting it from something on the island. I don't think I just don't buy that. I feel like this is just a little side subplot that doesn't really have any relevance for the main sort of story. Well, that would be my guess.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you. I mean, if I had to interpret his visions, I would say, it was basically the baby going out to water, and that could also be interpreted as the baby getting off the island, I guess. But, the first time the baby was locked in the piano, supposedly, and going out to sea, and then the second time it was in the crib going out to sea. And the painting, like, I'm not sure if you specifically know, if our listeners specifically know, but the paintings that Claire and his mom were in, or representing, was a painting of, this famous painting of John the Baptist. So it's a pretty apt thing to connect the two. He tells Locke, about the painting. Echo about the painting. It's the painting is the Baptism of Christ by Verrocchio. Verrocchio, which I believe. Okay, hold on a second. I'm getting really confused. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. The painting. There's a painting. Apparently, I didn't really catch this, but I'm looking at the transcript. At the very beginning of the episode, there's a painting, The Baptism of Christ by Verrocchio or whatever, and that is in their home. And so his dream is basically based on that painting that was in his home as a child, his visions.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty apt to say it did have to do with baptism because that's what the painting is, and that's where the images were coming from. And, the baby was going out to water. But I agree, it doesn't feel like it's really going to come to anything, but I just don't... Why spend your time with something fairly a big part of this episode that didn't really seem to come to anything? It does give an opportunity for Charlie to act really crazy and bring a rift between Claire and Charlie, and then for Locke to step in. I love when Locke beats Charlie. Oh, that was awesome. Because it was so unexpected. It was... I got to talk about that. So I don't know. To answer your original question, are the visions real? Yes, he's really having visions. And I guess your second part was, what does it mean, or does it mean anything?
Yeah, that's not what I meant by real, but I'll
yeah, I know. I don't know. Okay, yeah, I don't know if the visions are coming from the island or not. I would assume they are.
So you think the island really cares if this baby gets baptized? Like, I just
maybe it was a test to see if Charlie could do it or could get the. I guess I'm not answering your question, but to see if Charlie could get the baby baptized. You would think if obviously, well, if the island really wants the baby baptized, why not give Claire the visions? I guess.
Yeah.
But if the island is testing Charlie, because also he has to deal with the heroin in this one again, And if he's really testing Charlie, I don't, but like I said, I can only imagine if it's this sort of test, but it still doesn't explain if the island really cares or not. Either way, yeah, I can't imagine the island cares if the baby's baptized. I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions there, obviously. We didn't really get to anything, but...
yeah.
So, I wanted to say... Let's talk about Libby for a sec, and then we'll come back to craziness.
Libby.
The first thing Libby says in her scene with Hurley is, "Did these washer and dryers look newer than everything else?" And I should say that they do. I think that model had just come out that year, if not the year before. It's those newfangled, big, nice washer and dryers. So not only did she comment on it, but it's obvious that it's there. So what could that mean? The fact that these washers and dryers were made in 2004, 2005, and they're on the island now.
I'm about to talk out of my ass a little bit.
Okay.
But I think that this was something. I think this was a response to something that fans were saying. I think initially when we saw the washer and dryer, everybody sort of picked up on the fact that it was a new model and it didn't fit in with the rest of the stuff, and there was a lot of stuff online about it, and I think that it was actually in response to that the writers put this in there.
So, and that's why Hurley says it washes clothes. That's all that matters.
Yeah, and I think it started off as a simple, what do they call it? What's the word? There's a word for that. Like if it's an old movie and you see
it's a what do you call it?
Yeah, that's where I was.
There's a key word I'm looking for. Not production. It's the wrong era. It's like a set dressing type thing. What do you production design?
It.
Production design. It's a production design problem.
No, there's a word for that type of mistake.
It's not a continuity error.
No, it's not a continuity error. It's
a goof.
It's a something else.
Yeah, I don't know what it's called, man. But
anyway, that's what it is.
So it was an error.
That's what I think it's.
It was just an error. They didn't want to change it. They said, "Hey, instead of changing it, we'll point out that it doesn't really matter."
Yeah, once they point it out, it's like, well, we pointed it out, so yeah, now we'll just... I don't think they're going to actually try to explain it. I think they're just... They give that throwaway line, and then, that's it.
I want to know the production designer who was told, okay, well, we're going to have this scene, we're going to have this hatch, and we need this, and this needs to look like this, okay, we need a washer and dryer, and we need this, and he's getting the list, and he's getting all that stuff. What makes him think to go buy a new washer and dryer? I don't understand why that doesn't cross your mind. Seems like that's something you would not be fired for, but be reprimanded for. We're making a period film here. They're making a period set, basically. And then he goes out of period with that washer and dryer. It's really strange.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of errors happen, and it does seem astounding, but there's a lot of stuff going on, and they work with multiple crews, and there's all sorts of people involved with every step of the process, and multiple different teams that aren't necessarily communicating, and I think in the chaos of trying to get the show out, stuff just gets missed, and I guess I feel like no one noticed. The guy bought the washer and dryer, and no one really thought about it.
Yeah.
They somehow it just went over everybody's head.
Yeah.
And except the fans who were analyzing everything.
That's why I need to run the show.
It was really weird. I watched the commentary for Dave. I know this is a little early, but that whole thing with the picture looking wrong.
Yeah.
Not matching.
Yeah.
The guys, there was a couple of I don't remember who they were, but they were sort of behind the scenes production guys on the commentary track, and they were like, the fans are saying that the picture didn't match, and they were looking at like the celery on the table and the thing, and they didn't point out the obvious thing, which was the darkness in the background in the picture.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that it was from a different angle and that Hurley was sitting a different way. They were like, no, look, the celery looks the same. I mean, I think it's the same.
Oh, God.
It was really weird. It was like they were looking at the episode and they did not notice how off that picture was.
Yeah, that's
and I'm like,
really
okay,
weird.
well, you know what? If they don't notice, they're like looking at the celery and not worrying about the obvious thing.
What they didn't get to do, what we got to do, was have those two shots, those two pictures together.
Yeah.
Because they're just watching the episode, so if they don't catch the first time that it's dark in the back or it's blah, 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 then they see the second time, they're not going to notice. But what we got to do is see both at the same time on the screen and scrutinize each. Yeah, but I see what you're saying. It is sort of interesting. I mean, it would be really weird if they did what we did and they still didn't see the darkness in the background and there's a guy in one shot and a guy not in the other. And
hey, the celery looks fine to me.
Hey, the celery. So. Hey, guys. So let's keep talking about Libby here. Libby and Hurley. I love when let's see. It's very strange. So Hurley says, "I wash his clothes. That's all I need to know." And Libby goes, finally someone who keeps it simple. And then she says, "Hey, look at this." And she holds up some shirt. She says, "You think I can pull this off?" And at that point, like Hurley looks at the little blouse thing, halter top, whatever it is. And then he looks at it and then looks at her very strangely and, sort of doesn't say anything. And then she goes, "Let me tell you, when a girl asks that kind of question, she's looking for validation." And Hurley's looking at her face, and then he goes, "Do I know you from somewhere?" Cynthia Watros, man, I think she's a really good actress. She does some really subtle work in this little scene, and the look she gives him right after he says that is just awesome. She sort of looks but doesn't look, and shows a little something on her face, but not too much. Oh, it was nice. And so she goes, "You mean the other flight?" And he goes, "Flight?" And it's like
you mean other than the flight?
I'm sorry. You mean other than the flight? And then he says flight as if that word, like, resonated with him. And I was trying to figure out what that could mean. Like, the fact that caught, and then she immediately says, "Okay, turn around," and sort of distracts him at that point when he says flight, And so I was wondering what that meant. I mean, obviously he remembers the flight he took, but I feel like that meant... Now, hey, before I say anything else, have we seen Libby on the plane?
I don't remember.
Okay.
We'll have to look.
I don't think we have, but maybe we have. I don't remember either. But I was just thinking...
Oh, you know what? We did see her in the airport.
Okay.
With Echo in the in question.
Oh yeah. Excuse me. Is everything okay?
Yeah.
I love that. I can't wait to see that again.
So she was at least in the airport. So I think she was on the plane.
Well, hey. So my point was that he says flight, which made me think that he's basically saying I don't remember. Well, I mean, part of my theory is he's basically saying I don't remember seeing you on the flight. Like, because he's like, "Do we know each other?" And she goes, "You mean other than the flight?" And basically he's expecting, the fact that she references the flight, he's thinking she's going to reference something else. So he goes, "Flight? Like, no, that's not at all what I was thinking. I was thinking something else because I definitely don't remember you on the flight. And you're saying you were on the flight?" So anyway, I thought that was sort of interesting that word resonated with him. That's just one thing I could think of.
Even though, like, he should know. I mean, she's supposed to be from the tail section. I mean, it's not like he should not know she was supposed to be on a flight. I mean, it's just sort of... I feel like he's thinking, and he's barely paying attention to what she's saying, and he just sort of repeats the word. And I don't feel like he's actually listening to her. I think he's still trying to figure out where he remembers her from.
Huh, okay. That'd be to say flight just because he's sort of thinking. Well, I missed the first part of what you said. I didn't catch that.
I think he's still trying to remember where
the thing
he
you said before
knows
that.
her from. I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
If I said anything before that, I don't remember.
I just think there's a lot. There's some mystery here about Libby and what she's really doing and what's really going on. And obviously, she was in the mental hospital with him. And I think that is where, even if she was on the flight or not, I think that's the answer he was looking for. And I think...
Explain to me how she was not on the flight, and she's on the island, and she was at the airport.
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I have no theories. I mean, she could be an other for all I know, dude. She could be undercover. She could have done any number of things they could write. I don't know. I'm not saying she wasn't on the flight. I'm just saying that it seems like when he says flight, he's thinking... Basically, my point is, the answer he's looking for is mental hospital. So when she says other than the flight, he's thinking, well, no, that's not the answer he was looking for. That's not the place that he remembers seeing her, which basically means he doesn't remember seeing her on a flight, not that she was there. Now, of course, he goes, I can't remember, she says, I can't remember you, I can't believe you don't remember stepping on my foot. And he goes, I did. He goes, yeah, you did. Oh, I think we see her in the end when we don't we get a shot of everybody coming into the plane at the end of the season?
Yeah, I don't remember if we see her, but
I feel like we might. Anyway, she claims that he stepped on her foot, and he was the last one on the flight, and he was all sweaty and had headphones on. So anyway, how could she know that if she wasn't there? It'd be sort of a little hard to know that information if she wasn't on the flight.
And she was at the airport.
She was at the airport.
To me, that's. I mean,
I don't remember.
If she ended up,
did he have headphones on? No, I don't feel like he had headphones on when he was getting to his seat.
No, I don't. Oh, actually, I think he did.
He put his headphones
no,
on.
No. I think he put on headphones when he sat down.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like she gets this piece wrong, and maybe they just didn't, it's one of those things where they wrote it here and they didn't show it the same way when we actually see it or something, but...
Yeah, well, we've already seen it at this point. I mean, that was...
oh, yeah, we already saw
that. Was the season 1 finale.
So, I don't know, maybe they just got it wrong, but at least, in any case, she's sort of wrong about that piece of information. But,
yeah.
I don't know, I'm just
lying.
trying to figure out what's going on with her.
She's lying about this because she was in the tail section and he wasn't, so he would not have passed her on the way to his seat.
See? There you go. You're proving my point. My point is something screwy's going on here. Maybe she was on the plane, but something screwy's going on here.
I think she was absolutely on the plane. I think she's trying to give him a reason why he remembers her, so that he'll stop trying to think about where he remembers her from, which is the mental hospital.
I'll buy that, but if she's way in the back of the plane, do you really think she's going to see him in the sort of front middle that he was in? I mean, she could have. I mean, I'll say maybe she could have seen him, but I mean, if you're on a plane, are you really like? I guess he was the last passenger. Maybe he was making a lot of commotion. I guess.
Yeah. It was a big ordeal when he got on, and like you can see. I mean, if he came in the right way, and she was on the right side.
I was just thinking, like, this is actually a bad lie to tell because if she told Saeed this, he would quickly remember that she was in the back and he wasn't, and there's no way he stepped on her foot. But I guess this is something that can get past Hurley.
Yeah.
Because that's a really
really
bad lie to tell. Yeah, don't you remember stepping on my foot? But wait, weren't you in the back of the plane where I never went?
Yeah. No, Saeed wouldn't let that go, but yeah.
He would torture her.
Oh God.
Okay, so let's quickly say that Locke is very crazy at this point in the season. He's very untrusting. He's very, he doesn't recognize the same signs he used to follow. Charlie tells him he had a dream about, some dire situations, and he just pretends like it's rubbish, Right. Like, he's just an addict, blah, blah, blah. And I think Season 1 Locke would have really been interested since Season 1 Locke had a dream with some dire situations in it.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny how off the path he is. And he's totally unlike what he used to be, which is funny because he's nicer to Claire and Aaron. Now that he's
that's
now that
weird.
he's meaner to everyone else.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, can I also mention real quick? Oh yes, it's along the same lines. You know, he basically tells Charlie he follows Charlie to where Charlie keeps his stash. Charlie's a liar, man. Oh, he lies all the time. Where he has the stash of Virgin Marys filled with the heroin, and he takes them all, and he goes, you know, there's a time I wanted to let you make your own decision about this, but now I'm making it for you. When in the episode before, he stops Jack and says, Jack, who are we to tell anybody what to do and what not to do and what they can and can't do, you know, when Jack wants to keep after Michael. You know, Locke tells him, who are we to decide that, you know, but it's so hypocritical because a couple episodes ago, Hurley, you know, and everyone hates Hurley. Hurley didn't want to be the food manager, and Locke tells him, well, you gotta be. And then Jack wants to follow Michael to stop him, and Locke tells him, well, who are we to tell people what they can and can't do? And then in this episode, he's basically telling Charlie, you know, you can't do heroin. I won't let you, you know.
Yeah.
So he's flip-flopping, which I think is also a sign that he's crazy and going on the wrong path. And the fact that he hit Charlie, I mean, obviously it was sort of called for to a certain degree, but the fact that he's the one who did it, I think was very interesting. I love how he like backslapped him. That was nice. Get a little backslapped and a couple jabs. That was cool. And so
it didn't seem like something Locke would do.
It was definitely.
You know?
I remember first watching it. Totally surprised me.
Yeah. It really threw me off because I think it was at this point. I really think before this I let the little signs go that Locke was losing it, but I think it was at this point where I'm like, wow, Locke is really far gone from what he was.
Oh yeah.
You know, now when I watch it, I feel like he lost it way back in season 1. But
he started the hatch, dude. It's the hatch. That's when he started going off the path. And I think once he got into the hatch, he was totally off the path.
Yeah. Yeah, when you look back, you can see. And then when you get to this point, it's not such a surprise. It's like, yeah, of course he would do that.
Yeah.
You know, he's not the person he used to be, and you know, he's just like, yeah, angry at Charlie, and I think he feels a little bit of personal failure. He feels like he's sort of responsible in some way, because he sort of helped Charlie through this, and he feels like he didn't do a good enough job, and you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's that part of it. I don't know what he's doing with Claire. I feel like he's just nice to Claire because
it makes Charlie mad.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like, man. He just seems like he's only doing it. But I mean, he was nice. I mean, he built the crib for Claire. Yeah. But it just seems like now that Charlie's out of the picture, he's like really shoehorning his way in there.
Yeah. It's weird because he's spending all this time out of the hatch. Like,
yeah.
I had this impression of him just hanging around the hatch for the whole season, but he's out quite a bit. He even moves out to like stay by Claire.
Yeah. Well, he's got,
after this happens.
He's got the rotation going in the hatch. I think people seem. I think towards the end of the season, there's less people on the rotation, and it's mainly just him. And well, then of course, pretty soon after that, he sort of gives up on the hatch. But
yeah.
The last thing I want to talk about was Echo marking the trees. I think.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that.
I know. Didn't what I said something right? Interesting, or I was gonna say something interesting. You said he was.
Yeah, you were gonna explain what he was doing and how it didn't have anything to do with the church. I can't wait to hear.
He said he was marking trees for the ones that he liked, and I agree that it seemed like he was doing that so he could pick the ones for the church. Now, what tree he likes and what tree he doesn't like, I don't know what that means in terms of building the church. Unless he just means like in terms of this will be a good, easy piece to cut down and it's fairly straight, so I won't have to do any crazy cutting. You know, unless he means like sort of realistically.
Yeah, that's kind of how I took it.
Oh, okay. I thought he's like, which trees tell the best jokes? Well, they're all knock-knock jokes. Oh, was that really funny, or was it just me?
That was kind of funny.
You know, because they're trees.
If I was less tired, I would laugh, I think.
Let me tell you why it's funny. Let me take you inside the joke. Please,
tell me what you did there.
Yeah, let me show you what I did there. my point about I don't know if those trees that he cut down, the trees that he was marking are the trees that he used, was because I think those trees got burned up in the fire that Charlie set. Because if you noticed, in the end of the episode, when Claire comes up to him, Echo is sitting in that burnt area where there are trees around, looking very forlorn, like, damn, this is all gone. And I can't imagine any other reason he would be sitting there, like, deep in thought, looking at the damage, unless that's where he was marking trees.
Yeah, but isn't it possible he was going to use those trees for the church, but he couldn't because they got burned?
Yeah, exactly. That was my point, is that I don't think he used those trees. But he was going to. I mean, why else would he mark trees? Who knows?
Okay.
That was my point.
I thought you...
Very minor point.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, and it's true. I mean, we see him in later episodes actually chopping him down, and it's clear that he is using them for the thing. But yeah, the trees we actually see him marking, he probably doesn't get to use because they burn. Yeah, that's a fair point. I'd just like to say Charlie really he really went overboard just to get the baby. I mean,
yeah,
that big fire,
yeah,
was just sort of ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a fairly big fire.
You didn't need to do that.
It was funny when we saw Saeed this out. I was like, wow, I haven't seen you in a while, man. It's crazy. And he's like, we gotta hurry and put out the fire, or it'll destroy the whole camp. And I'm like, I think you're exaggerating, but okay, put out the fire.
Yeah. Yeah, he went into hiding after Shannon died, and he didn't come out again.
He was in mourning. I forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a mournerer.
They don't want to deal with him. Oh, God.
I'm a mournerer.
Nice.
Yeah, Charlie went overboard. This is Charlie's craziness. Maybe Charlie and Locke have this kindred bond. The more Locke goes off the path, the more crazy Charlie gets.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they're connected somehow. I don't know. I doubt it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
Well, we'll go here, continue to episode 13. But I guess that'll be after our break.
You don't want to talk about it now?
Huh?
Nothing.
How do we do a 4-hour podcast for 4 episodes?
Well, that's more or less what we've been doing, so...
Well, we were doing 4 hours for 5 episodes before.
Oh, wait a minute. We did 5 hours for 8.
And we did 5 hours for 8. 4 for 4 is bad.
Yeah.
Considering how tired we are.
I guess we can't do Namaste with this, because we're not done.
We're not done. Unless this will be its own podcast. But that's just weird.
Oh. Yeah.
I mean, I think we should make this its own podcast, because this is 4 hours, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking long. Alright, you want to Namaste it?
Yeah, let's Namaste it.
Alright.
Alright, guys, stay tuned. Alright, hold on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, guys, stay tuned to the next part of our Season 2 Quick and Dirty Retrospective. Coming soon. Thank you, and Namaste.
Namaste, and good luck.